One Piece, sign-in is endless, Marine is completely confused. Chapter 81. What did you say? Red-haired Shanks appeared on Judicial Island and wreaking havoc. After Zongguo heard the other party's report, there was a flash of shock in his eyes. If he hadn't been sure that the Den Den Mushi in his hand was an emergency Den Den Mushi. I'm afraid Zongguo thought the other party was joking with him. Didn't red hair appear in the sea near Impel Down before? How long has it been? How did it appear in Judicial Island? How on earth did he do that? Zongguo couldn't understand it at all. Pirates don't have the internal circulation of marine. Can move quickly within the marine sphere of influence. The situation is very tricky now. Red Hair is one of the 4 emperors. A being that can be compared to Big Mom Kaido and Whitebeard. It's definitely not easy to mess with. Even if a general takes action, he may not be able to defeat the opponent. Even capsizing in a ditch is not impossible. In addition, there are a lot of vice captain level pirates in the Red Hair Pirates with bounties exceeding 100 million. Zongguo felt his scalp tingling. How to deal with it? Have all the Red Hair Pirates been dispatched? How many pirate ships are there in total? Have his affiliated pirate groups set out together? Zongguo immediately asked what he wanted to know most. If the Red Hair Pirates come out in full force, plus dozens or hundreds of affiliated pirate groups, something big is really going to happen on Judicial Island. This is Marine's reputation. No. Fleet Admiral, the Red Hair Pirates did not show up. There is no affiliated pirate group that caused massive destruction on Judicial Island. There's only one redhead. What? There's only one redhead. Zongguo's entire neck was tilted back. Although the situation is still critical now. But he still felt relieved. Since there is only red hair, the problem is easy to deal with. It just so happened that the fastest Admiral Kizaru was right beside him. It doesn't take much time to set off for Judicial Island immediately. As long as we can delay the red-haired boy. The rest is easy. Borsellino, urgent mission. I issue this command as Marine Fleet Admiral. Rush to Judicial Island as quickly as possible and stop red-haired Shanks's destructive behavior. No delay. I'll give you the next plan later. Sengoku immediately gave orders to Kizaru. Yeah. It's really not human to be a general. Kizaru smacked his lips. I heard that this was the highest order issued by Zongguo in his capacity as Fleet Admiral. It's hard to say much. His figure directly turned into starlight. Disappeared in the room. He has already used the power of the Pika Pika Nomi fruit. Rushed to the Judicial Island as quickly as possible. Zongguo walked out of the laboratory room directly. 1 foot on the ground. With a huge reaction force, it flew towards the Fleet Admiral office of the Marine headquarters. Up in the air, Sengoku Fleet Admiral's eyes narrowed. He is thinking. Until now, Zongguo still doesn't understand. What on earth does Redhead want to do? Wasn't the Judicial Island just destroyed by Straw Hat Boy Luffy and his crew? Now everything is in a state of reconstruction with everything to be done. It can be said that it is now the Judicial Island. In addition, CP Group also has some useful information. Maybe there is nothing worthy of Redhead's attention anymore. Soon, Zongguo's figure appeared directly in the office. In the room, staff officer he had been waiting for a long time. Suru, I've asked Kizaru to deal with the red hair issue on Judicial Island. Kizaru, if we keep going at full speed, we'll arrive in half an hour at most. It shouldn't be a problem to hold the red-haired boy back. What did you say? Have you already sent Kizaru to Judicial Island? Staff officer he heard what Zongguo said. Scream out loud. Oh no, I clearly rushed here as soon as possible, but I still didn't make it. It's only been a short while and you've already sent Kizaru out. Are you secretly hanging out with Borsellino? Zongguo, you are confused. Staff officer he slammed the table in front of him. In an instant, all kinds of documents on the desk were scattered all over the floor. Zongguo was very surprised. He and he have been comrades in arms for decades. He has always been calm and composed, as if everything is under control. So much so that he saw Su Chen before the Warring States period. Everyone thought that Su Chen was deliberately pretending to be cool and imitating Chief of Staff He. But now, why is he showing such a disgraceful look? What on earth happened? Zongguo's heart sank. He already felt it. Something bad happened. At least it is definitely not as simple as Red Hair attacking Judicial Island. Chief of Staff Crane let out a long sigh. He simply picked up the documents scattered on the ground. It was put before the warring states again. Look. About an hour ago. The Whitebeard pirates and the Red Hair pirates. I don't know what method he used to enter the city. The communication equipment in Push City has been secretly destroyed. If we push into the city now, I'm afraid Akainu and his men will be in a tough fight. Although Magellan, Aokiji and Akainu are all strong men who can defeat hundreds of enemies at once. But they are facing Whitebeard, the most powerful man on Earth, and the hundreds of people on him and Red Hair's ship. The bounties alone exceed 1 billion, and you can't even count them on one hand. You know why Red Hair appeared on Judicial Island and wreaked havoc, right, Sengoku? He said this and took a deep breath. This is a trick used by these pirates to lure the tiger away from the mountain. The warring states period learned about it. The city was pushed forward an hour ago. It has already been invaded by the Whitebeard and Red Hair pirates. His brows suddenly became so gloomy that water could be squeezed out of them. This is the last thing the warring states wanted to happen. It finally happened. The situation now is extremely bad. Kizaru was transferred away. Impel Down was invaded by the Whitebeard pirates and Red Hair's men. Such a force is definitely enough to move sideways in the underwater city. We must seize the time and act, do something. Otherwise, what if Whitebeard and his crew really rescued some extraordinary being? Like the Golden Lion on the 6th floor, Bullet, Burndi, Baloric. Any one of them is released. This sea is about to shake 3 times. I made such a stupid mistake. I will notify Borsellino to come back and help me suppress the riot and Impel Down. As long as our top warriors outnumber Whitebeard and his men, their plan to break into the prison will not work. Zongguo said through gritted teeth. He stood aside and put the documents on the desk. Once again, it was pushed to the warring states period. Zongguo, don't make the same mistake you made when you were young. After reading this information, decide on your plan. Zongguo was extremely anxious at this moment. But he was speechless after hearing what Chief of Staff he said. When he was young, he did do many things that almost led to big mistakes because of his impulsiveness. Zongguo quickly shifted his gaze to the information that he handed over to him. After reading for a few seconds, Zongguo. Shock appeared on his face for the 3rd time. Ace. Is Roger's son. Is there no error in this file? This is no joke. Zongguo put the document down. The look he gave Vice Admiral Suru was extremely serious. Zongguo, how could I joke with you about something like this? The source of this information is the information you sent out to contact Blackbeard and traded back. I have confirmed this confidentially through multiple channels. Ace is Gal D. Roger's biological child. His mother is called Portgas D. Rouge, an ordinary woman from Badarla Island. This is impossible, Zongguo said firmly. After Roger died, do you know how long I was asked by those beasts of the celestial dragons to search for Roger's offspring? The whole ocean stretches from Sky Island to Mermaid Island. We Marines almost turned the entire Red Earth continent upside down. No trace of Roger's offspring was found. How come all of a sudden, Garp's grandson became Roger's child? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. If you say so, then Garp's other grandson Luffy is the sun god, right? Lieutenant General Crane, I know you have verified it in many ways. But if you want to verify it, you must have some basic knowledge about the human body. You are a woman, don't you understand the principle of pregnancy for 10 months? Staff officer, he sneered. So how do you think Portgas D. Rouge managed to give birth to Roger's only child without telling any of you? Others are pregnant for 10 months, but Rouge was pregnant with Ace for 20 months. After Ace was born, Rouge died of exhaustion. Sengoku, do you really think I would just give the position of 7 warlords of the sea to Blackbeard without thinking? All the information is here. If you feel like you have plenty of time, you can spend the whole day here looking at it. Crane's tone towards Sengoku. He was not as gentle as he was to Momoshige and Tsuchin. They have been comrades in arms who have been through life and death together for decades. A lifelong friendship. There is no atmosphere of superiority or subordinate between them at all. Warring States was silent. He looked at the various materials in his hands. This is undoubtedly evidence of Portgas D. Ace. It's the child of Roger from One Piece. Right now, Sengoku finally understood why Whitebeard had such a big reaction to them capturing Ace. Even at all costs, break into the prison and save Ace. The reason is very simple. Because Ace is Roger's child. The relationship between Whitebeard and Roger. The relationship with Crane, Garp and Warring States is not much different. You can fight to the death for the other party's offspring. Zongguo also understood. Where does Whitebeard get so much face? It turns out that they were able to invite the Red Hair Pirates, who are also members of the Four Emperors. Cooperate with Whitebeard and his crew to invade Impel Down. Red Hair was a crew member on Roger's ship. For the former captain's child. Nature will not let it go. Think of this. Zongguo couldn't help but scratch his hair hard. To be fair, Zongguo didn't want to kill Ace. As long as the news doesn't get out. During the Warring States period, one could turn a blind eye and pretend not to see it. Blackbeard. This matter was exposed. If we had known earlier, we should have issued a buster call directly to Banero Island. Blackbeard and his crew were buried at the bottom of the sea. Now that the news has spread, they want to cover up Ace's identity. It's simply impossible. He's the Marine Fleet Admiral. There were also celestial dragons watching him from behind. Even if I am unwilling in my heart. And he can only kill Ace. Garp, I'm sorry. After Zongguo took a deep breath. The reluctance on his face disappeared completely. Now, he has regained his image as Fleet Admiral. Just for Marine. I lost my composure. I apologize. The situation is urgent now. We don't have time to talk about this leisurely. I already know the motives of Whitebeard, Red Hair and others for invading Impel Down. Contact Impel Down immediately and take Fire Fist Ace to the 6th floor of Impel Down. Notify the publicity clerk of the Marine headquarters to start writing the press release. We at Marine have captured Roger's offspring, announced Ace's situation, and announced that Ace will be publicly executed at a later date. To intimidate all pirates in the world. Crane nodded. They all knew that Ace was Garp's grandson, whom he treated as his own. Garp's biggest wish is for Ace and Luffy to become Marines. The announcement of Ace's public execution will definitely deal a huge blow to Garp. It is even possible that you will never recover from this setback. Suru, I still don't understand why you don't let me send Kizaru to stop Red Hair. The reconstruction plan for Judicial Island has long been on the agenda. It is understandable to let Kizaru and Red Hair make a big fuss on the island. Shouldn't we immediately concentrate all our high-end combat power in Advanced City to deal with Whitebeard and Red Hair's group? As long as I go to Impel Down together with Akainu Aokiji, we can suppress Whitebeard and his men and turn the situation around. Sengoku asked Crane suspiciously. Let me ask you, why did Red Hair make such a fuss on Judicial Island? The purpose is to lure away the high-end combat power of Marine. Kizaru will be able to hold Red Hair hostage for a while. If you were Red Hair, and you made a scene on Judicial Island but didn't attract more high-end Marines, what would you do? Zongguo answered without any hesitation. Stop paying attention to Kizaru and attack the Marine headquarters. If I were Red Hair, I would definitely change my target and attack the Marine headquarters. In this case, at least 2 or more great generals will be restricted by Red Hair and will not be able to go to Push City for support. After being reminded by Zongguo suddenly came to his senses. Kizaru should have gone to Impel Down with him from the very beginning. Before Red Hair could react, suppress the riot in Impel Down as quickly as possible. As long as I appear in the Impel Down city, Red Hair wants to attract more powerful people to leave Impel Down. They will definitely change their target and attack the Marine headquarters. Recall Kizaru now. Letting him go to the Impel Down town with Sengoku is the best solution for Marine right now. Zongguo glanced at the time on the wall behind him. More than 20 minutes had passed since Borsellino was sent out. I don't know if there is enough time. Sengoku immediately called Kizaru. The call is not connected. Zongguo suddenly felt something was wrong. This can only mean one thing. Yellow Monkey is fighting. There was no time to connect the phone. I'm afraid Kizaru has already started fighting with Red Hair. Is it still too late? Zongguo cursed inwardly. The thing that I least wanted to happen still happened. A step too slow. Staff Officer Crane sighed. His expression was also very solemn. This means that Red Hair has been fighting with Kizaru for some time. After discovering that there were no more general-level strong men to stop them, I will try my best to go to Marine headquarters. Attack on a wider range. It's come to this, there's nothing we can do. Zhang, your plan to go to Push City to support Kasaki and his men has probably failed. Just gather your men and wait in Malinfen. I want to rely on the Red Hair's means. It will take at most half a day to get here. He took a deep breath and said helplessly. The current situation. For Marine, this is undoubtedly the last thing he wants to see. The direct loss of 2 general-level strongmen. Push into the city. As for Akainu Aokiji, Magellan and others, they wanted to defend against the invasion of Whitebeard and his men. The pressure will become very high. Everything was planned by those pirates. Zhang slumped back into his chair weakly. This time, Whitebeard and Red Hair team up to invade and advance the city. Maybe Kaido, the king of beasts, is also involved. Otherwise, why is it such a coincidence? Would Kaido and Mingo trade such a large number of artificial devil fruits in Dressrosa? He just happened to be captured by spies from the world government. Would this be another thing in itself? How to lure the tiger away from the mountain? If it weren't for their marine, a Su Chen suddenly appeared and became the 4th general. Now there are people who can guard the city. At most, there is only one person among the 3 generals. In that case, I'm afraid that Whitebeard and his group will be able to advance into the city unhindered. Sengoku, look forward to good news from Akainu and the others. Whitebeard was strong, but that was more than a decade ago. Now that he is old and weak, it is impossible for him to maintain his fighting power at its peak. Akainu and Aokiji, together with Magellan and the others, should be able to deal with them. He comforted Zanguodao. But let's talk about the latter. In fact, staff officer he himself didn't believe it. The Whitebeard pirates are out in full force this time. Want to stop them all? It's almost impossible. Right now, Marine has almost no way to deal with it. How to break the deadlock? Staff officer he was also thinking. But so far, she has tried hundreds of possibilities. Without exception, none of them were able to stop Whitebeard from rescuing Fire Fist Ace. It would be fine if Whitebeard just rescued Ace. It was just a devastating blow to Marine's credibility. In the next few years, Marine will have no deterrent power in the eyes of pirates. But what if Whitebeard also rescued the remnants of Golden Lion's old times? That's going to be a big deal. While chief of staff he was concentrating on thinking of countermeasures. The warring states moved. He simply took out his Den Mushi and dialed a number. This undoubtedly came as a surprise to chief of staff he. Zhang, do you have a way to break the situation? What's your idea? It's rare that you came up with it before me. Zhang sneered, said unhappily. It will take at least half a day to go to Impel Down to support Akainu and the others. It is impossible to suppress Whitebeard and his men before Red Hair comes alone. How can I come up with any good ideas? Just calling to ask about your precious grandson. Let's see when he can come back and see if he can save our Marine from the dire situation. Hear what Zhang said. Staff officer Yi's eyes lit up. Really? Everything about Marine right now? It was all due to the schemes of Whitebeard and Red Hair. Marine's low-end combat power is now in the Marine headquarters and cannot be quickly moved to the advancement city. Their high-end combat capability is restricted by Red Hair, and they don't have as many people as the pirates. If you want to break the deadlock, the method is to increase the high-end combat capability of Marine. Now everyone in the Marine forces is in the chess game. The only person outside the chess game. There is only Marine, the new 4th Admiral. That is, the grandson of Chief of Staff Crane. It's Su Chen. Beep, 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 beep. Zhang has called, but Su Chen hasn't answered yet. Only a few seconds had passed. But both Zhang and he felt the time was so long. After a while, the call was connected. Su Chen's voice slowly emerged from the Den Mushi. What's wrong, Sengoku Fleet Admiral? I think this is the first time you call me. Zhang heard Su Chen's voice. My mood instantly improved. After all, Su Chen has brought many surprises to Zhang Zhang was thinking about how to tell Su Chen about the current situation Marine was facing. Staff officer he standing by couldn't bear to watch it anymore. He just snatched the Den Mushi away. asked Su Chen. Xiao Chen, where are you now? How far is it to Impel Down? On the other end of the phone, Su Chen heard the voice of Grandma He. He knew that Granny Crane was Marine's chief of staff, so he wasn't too surprised. What was surprising was why Granny Crane knew that I had left Dressrosa. Did not return directly to Marine headquarters. Instead, he headed towards the 5th check-in point released by the system. Push the city forward. But Su Chen didn't waste any words. He directly confirmed the current location of their warship with the sailors beside him. He replied directly to Den Den Mushi. Grandma, I'm now close to Push City. It should be about 20 nautical miles at most. I will be able to reach Pushan City in about 15 minutes at most. What's the problem? After Zhang Guo and he heard Su Chen's answer. The two looked at each other. They are both able to see deep into each other's eyes. See a touch of excitement and excitement. Although they don't know why Su Chen returned from Dressrosa. Not directly returning to Marine headquarters. Instead, he took a detour to Impel Down. But now the situation in Advanced City is critical. Whitebeard has been invading Impel Down for an hour. Only a few pieces of news came back from Impel Down. I have no idea what the current situation in Impel Down is like. But, anyway, the Marine warship where Su Chen is located. There are only 20 nautical miles left to Push City. 15 minutes at most. Su Chen can then reach the Push City. With Aokiji Akainu et al. Together we suppressed the invasion of Whitebeard and others. Warring States thought. Su Chen was able to reverse the situation in an instant and seal an area covering more than 20 kilometers. There is also a self-healing ability that is almost equivalent to immortality. In addition, there may be a remote control ability that can control a strong person at the level of Jeline Saint. Zhang Guo was so excited that he wanted to cheer for Su Chen. Great, it's Su Chen. We are saved. Su Chen, the current situation is very difficult. I need you to go to Impel Down right now and support Akainu and Aokiji. Warring States hurriedly used the simplest words. What will happen? Marine is now in danger. And told Su Chen what Su Chen needed to do now. Hear the news told by Zhang Guo. Su Chen answered the phone. A hint of surprise flashed across his face. Good job. It is indeed the butterfly effect. Because I traveled through time. Then a series of actions were taken that changed the original plot. Now, when the Straw Hat Boy and his crew are still in the horror 3D sailboat plot. The Impel Down riots had already occurred. The one who broke into the prison was none other than Monkey D. Luffy, the protagonist of One Piece. Instead, it turned out to be Whitebeard and his group. There is even a red-haired person involved. It provided considerable help to the Whitebeard pirates in their invasion of Impel Down. And himself. He even went straight to Judicial Island. Attracted Marine's high-end combat power. Prevent it from affecting Whitebeard's prison break plan. How much he loves his son. Whitebeard was so anxious to save Ace. I'm afraid there are other reasons. Su Chen touched his chin. Start thinking. Blackbeard must have revealed the news that Ace's biological father is Roger to the Marine forces. Otherwise, Whitebeard wouldn't act so quickly. Now push into town. There really aren't that many high-end combat forces among the friendly forces that are trying to stop Whitebeard. Range Shiryu will definitely rebel. Not a friendly party at all. Although Magellan's poison fruit is powerful, it is more of a group attack capability and is just so-so against single targets. The task of resisting Whitebeard. It still falls on Akainu and Aokiji. In the original plot of One Piece. During the war at the top, Aokiji and Akainu showed their strength. Although his strength is close to Whitebeard, he is still in a life-and-death battle. One person definitely cannot defeat Whitebeard. Only if Aokiji and Akainu attack together can they have a chance to defeat Whitebeard. But what about others? There are 43 captains under Whitebeard. And the Red Hair Pirates, except Shanks himself. Others include Usopp's father Jesus Bu and Ben Beckman. Are we going to leave it to the small fry in the Impel Down city to deal with them one by one? The rest, I don't think I need to solve all of them by myself. Obviously, this was a battle of unequal strength. Su Chen thought of this in his heart. On the sea in the distance. The outline of Impel Down City has already appeared faintly. Yes, Fleet Admiral. I'm almost at Impel Down. Wait for my good news. Su Chen finished speaking. He just hung up the phone. Brother, what's going on? Momosugi asked with some confusion. She looked from Su Chen's face. That expression went from indifferent to suddenly serious. It can be seen that what the Warring States Fleet Admiral told us was not simple. I'm afraid it's not as difficult as the mission to stop Mingo and Kaido from trading in Dressrosa this time. It's nothing serious. Whitebeard invaded Impel Down. Fleet Admiral Sengoku said that Red Hair is causing trouble on Judicial Island and could sneak away to Marine headquarters at any time. So he has to stay in Marinefenduo, so he has no extra combat power to send to us. After we land in Impel Down, we just need to cooperate with Akainu Aokiji and the others. Just stop Whitebeard from rescuing Fire Fist Ace. Su Chen spoke very calmly. There's nothing dangerous about this at all. It's as common as your uncle calling and asking you to remember to bring a bottle of soy sauce when you go home. But Momosugi heard it. The whole person felt as if struck by lightning. The delicate body just stood there blankly. Whitebeard actually invaded Impel Down. This is a place that is known as an iron wall. Not only does it have a large number of Poseidons, but it is also built on the seabed in the doldrums. How did Whitebeard manage to invade Impel Down right under Marine's nose? Now the enemy is invading the city. Momosugi will definitely have to confront its forces head-on. To be honest, last time on Banero Island, Momosugi was sealed with the fruit and the domineering Whitebeard was killed with one sword. She just had some trauma in her heart towards Whitebeard. Go inform Vice Admiral Chatten that we are ready to land in Impel Down. I don't know if I'll run into friendly forces first or be ambushed first when I get close to Advance City. Be prepared to fight at any time. Su Chen gave instructions to the accompanying sailors. Then he said it again to Momosugi beside him. Sister Momosugi, your mission this time. I don't ask much of you. Just try not to die before I reach Impel Down level 6. This time, Whitebeard was prevented from breaking out of prison. But it's different from stopping the deal between Mingo and Kaido. You have to fight hard. As long as they fight with all their might, it is normal for casualties to occur. Momosugi is quite capable though. But when they were on Banero Island, it was already very difficult for them to face the Vice President Marco. Not to mention the members of the Red Hair Pirates that they might have to face later. If the other party attacks in groups and really intends to do whatever it takes for Roger's son, then Momosugi might really be in danger of her life. As long as Su Chen completes what the system has released, this will be the 5th check-in in the Advancement City. Su Chen's system can be upgraded. A chance to receive a reward of your choice. The prize pool includes eternal life. In the Book of the 10 Days End, Chisha could rely on eternal life to resurrect Unianon and Wen Chaoyun. Even using flesh and blood to revive the entire land of the end. Since the first time he signed into the system, Momosugi has always been nice to Su Chen. So even if Momosugi died, as long as Su Chen successfully entered the level 6 of the Advancement City to check in this time. After the next sign-in, choose Eternal Life and there will be no problem in reviving Momosugi. But this sentence, it reached Momosugi's ears. The taste has changed. Momosugi always felt that Su Chen was very powerful. I kind of looked down on her as her elder sister. Suddenly, she snorted softly. Don't worry. Even if that fat pig Chatten died 100 times or 1,000 times. I won't die either. Momosugi finished saying this. Chaton Kaji also received a notice from the miscellaneous fish marine. Arrived at the cabin to meet up. At this moment, Lieutenant General Chatten was wearing loose clothes. There were bandages all over his body. He is obviously injured. These injuries were not caused by fighting with the enemy, but by the shock wave generated after Su Chen used thunder. After returning from Dressrosa, Chatten has been holding a grudge in his heart. He was seriously injured just by being hit by the aftermath of Su Chen's attack. This is really embarrassing. But now, I have just arrived at the cabin. He heard Momosugi's words. Momosugi wants to die 100 times 1,000 times. Hearing this, Chatten became furious again. The old blood that has been held in my heart. It sprayed directly out of the T-Pig's mouth. Can't stop it. Advance the city. 2nd floor. Beast Hell. Aokiji and Akainu both looked serious. They looked at Whitebeard, who was 7 meters tall and holding a naginata. After the battle just now, Aokiji and Akainu have been discovered. Even if both of them attacked Whitebeard with all their strength at the same time. It's just that I can do it. Just suppress Whitebeard. Want to truly defeat Whitebeard. It simply cannot be achieved quickly overnight. Now, the Whitebeard and Red Hair pirates have hundreds or thousands of members. Directly invaded Impel Down, without the assistance of their 2 marine admirals. Magellan alone. He wants to resist the pirates with bounties of over 100 million on the ships of Whitebeard and Red Hair. It's impossible. Kasaki, Aokiji. You know, it won't take long. It's impossible to defeat me. I told you that at the beginning. Ace, I will be rescued sooner or later. Whitebeard smiled brightly. Looks very domineering. Aokiji, is there any news from Marine Headquarters? Akainu's eyes were serious. He had just used all his strength on Whitebeard. Even teaming up with Aokiji. Directly penetrated the first floor of Crimson Hell. None of them caused much effective damage to Whitebeard. No, I have just sent someone to contact Fleet Admiral's emergency number. The Marine Headquarters must have received the news. But it is not clear at the moment why the Marine Headquarters did not respond to the message, nor did they immediately send reinforcements. Logically speaking, even if it was Fleet Admiral who was guarding Marin Fendo, Borsellino should have arrived long ago. Aokiji didn't understand. Why until now? Marine still has no intention of recruiting new members. Kizaru, could it be that he has received the news and is slacking off? If Kizaru was here, or if that kid Su-chen was here. We will definitely not be so passive now. At least we can stop those little pirates who broke through the blockade, there won't be any problem. Akainu's chest continued to rise and fall. Obviously during the fight with Whitebeard just now. He consumes a lot. But now Whitebeard remains calm. If we continue fighting like this, it won't be a problem to hold out for a few days and nights. But Akainu is worried about who will run out of energy first, him or Aokiji. Do you find it strange? Why hasn't that Zongguo guy sent reinforcements after so long? Whitebeard laughed, revealing his white teeth. Don't you find it strange that Shanks's men were involved in the prison break, but Shanks himself was not there? As soon as these words came out, Akainu and Aokiji's expressions changed drastically at the same time. They all immediately understood what was going on. The redhead might be somewhere else, limiting the number of marine recruits. The purpose is to buy time for Whitebeard and his crew. That's why Whitebeard went to so much trouble. Just to save Garp's grandson. Just because of that stinking brat, I accepted you as my godfather. Isn't this a bit too funny? Do you know how many of your people and my people died in Push City in just 1 minute? Akainu snorted. He's different. I promised that guy that I would definitely take good care of his child. Whitebeard still had that domineering smile on his face. Beep, beep, beep. The Den Den Mushi in Aokiji's pocket started to ring. He answered the phone. General Aokiji, have you guys dealt with Whitebeard? We can't hold on here any longer. You know my situation. I can only fight for a few hours at most. The pressure from the other side is really too much. I feel like if you guys don't come to support me, I'll be defeated by them before I even pull my pants pockets. On the phone, it was Magellan's voice. At this moment, he is in the 4th level of the burning hell. Stop the attack of Whitebeard's men and Redhair's men. Taking advantage of the terrain and the ability of the fruit. Magellan originally had a considerable advantage. Until the Phoenix Marco, and the red-haired deputy captain. Ben Beckman is here. Strong strength. Let the balance of victory reverse instantly. Magellan's side was originally in the advantageous position. It instantly became an extreme disadvantage. If it weren't for Magellan's persistence. I'm afraid it has already been broken through by Marco and others. What? Magellan, when you reported to me just now, weren't you still on the 3rd floor? How come we are already on the 4th floor and are about to fail? Aokiji gritted his teeth. At this moment, he felt a sense of powerlessness in his heart. Marco and Ben Beckman and those guys. Each of them has a bounty that exceeds 10 figures. If he defends one person alone, maybe Magellan still has a chance. But if you are attacked by a group of people, Magellan's defeat was inevitable. What to do now? Aokiji was troubled. He and Akainu were held back by Whitebeard. There is no news about Marine's recruitment. Even if Fleet Admiral sent Kizaru over. I'm afraid it can only hold off a few powerful men at the Vice Emperor level. Only dozens of Whitebeard's captains are left. The same can't be kept. General Aokiji, if you can't handle Whitebeard, can I request the release of the former warden of level 6, Rain Shiryu? Let him join me in resisting the powerful enemy. Magellan's voice on the phone sounded very anxious. Aokiji also showed a hint of hesitation after hearing this. Then he felt ruthless. Special times call for special methods. Magellan, I allow you to release Shiryu of Rain and let him fight against the invading pirates with you. As long as this crisis is successfully overcome, I will apply to Fleet Admiral to cancel his guilt. Good. I feel relieved when you say this. Magellan was also relieved to hear that Aokiji was willing to release Rain Shiryu. As long as there is Rain Shiryu joins, then the burden on his shoulders will be much lighter. Whitebeard watched Aokiji hang up the phone. Smiled. Are you done with the call? It's time to continue accompanying me, an old man, and stretch your body. Akainu, Aokiji. Aokiji put away the phone. Said coldly to Whitebeard. Well, thank you again. Give me a chance to communicate with my subordinates. Since you want to relax your muscles, Kusaki and I are willing to accompany you to the end. Aokiji finished speaking. Both he and Akainu were full of energy. The devil fruit in the body is fully activated. Whitebeard also wielded his Sokumo Kirei. Terrifying shock energy emerges from his blade. The war is about to begin. Advanced City. Level 6. It's Daddy. That vibrating feeling just now must have been caused by Dad's Tremor fruit ability. Fire Fist Ace was very excited, trying to break free from the shackles. But you can imagine that it is impossible to succeed. The fishman Jinbei saw it. A little surprised. Boy, are you saying that Whitebeard is coming to push the city? That's right. Dad is here to save me. Ace's eyes suddenly lit up. If it really is Whitebeard, maybe we really have a chance to escape. Jinbei said thoughtfully. Just at this moment, a man trotted down the stairs quickly. It immediately attracted the attention of all the prisoners on the 6th floor. Except for the Fire Fist Ace who was just transferred here. Can be locked up here. They were all once powerful figures on the sea. Just now, Whitebeard and Akainu Aokiji fought, causing a huge shock that shook the entire Impel down. They all made them realize that something was wrong. They all realized it. Something big seems to have happened in Push City. Hey, kid, what happened up there? If you don't want to die, tell me quickly. A relatively remote room. Crocodile threatened the soldier. Ask him to tell what happened above. Ha 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 ha, Crocodile. You are so powerful that you are already in shackles. You still think you are a high and mighty local emperor who can boss people around. The Golden Lion laughed. Laugh again, believe it or not, wait until I get out. The first thing I'll do is kill you, you old fool. After Crocodile was taunted by the Golden Lion Shiki. His eyes were cold. This man came down from the level 5 passage. He ignored anyone in the prison. Instead, he came to a corner where no one noticed. This cell. It was completely covered in shadows, and it was impossible to see who was imprisoned inside. The man is at the door. The other party gave a standard marine salute. Then he said loudly, Mr. Shiryu of the Rain. I am following the orders of Lord Magellan, the director of the Deep Sea Great Prison. I'm here to let you out. Hear what this man says. Shiryu of Rain, who was shrouded in shadows in the room, finally made some movement. Interesting, Magellan actually wants to let me out. What kind of wind is blowing? What is the plan? The man nodded. Answered you Shiryu. Sir Shiryu of the Rain, Lord Magellan said before releasing you. You must agree to come out and fight alongside Lord Magellan against the enemies that break into Impel Down. As long as you are willing to make amends for your crime and successfully defend against these pirates, then the admirals will apply to the Fleet Admiral. Your charges are dropped. When Shiryu heard the news, a look of surprise appeared on her face. Interesting. I agree. Let me out, and give me my sword. Got the answer from Rain Shiryu. The man also released you Shiryu very quickly. By the way, he also returned Marine's Cloak of Justice and Thunderstorm sword to Shiryu of Rain. After Rain Shiryu put everything on, he also smoked a cigar very comfortably. The whole person revealed a sense of refreshing pleasure. Master Shiryu of the Rain, Magellan specifically instructed me to do so. After you leave the prison, you need to go to level 4 immediately to meet up with Master Magellan and fight against the powerful enemy together. It has been several minutes since the time Master Magellan gave me. Please hurry up. Marine, who was delivering the key to Shiryu, saw that Shiryu was always in a carefree state. Seeing that Yuji Shiryu was not anxious at all, the marine soldier suddenly became anxious. After all, when Magellan sent him, the situation was already very critical. If we delay any further, I'm afraid something terrible will happen in Push City. Faster. Rain Shiryu slowly took the last puff of the cigar in his hand. He glanced at the anxious marine soldier nearby. He said something with disdain. Are you teaching me how to do things? Brush it. Rain Shiryu's words were not finished yet. A terrifying cold light that is almost impossible to capture with the naked eye. It just flashed right past the marine soldier. This guy's body was chopped off abruptly. The level 6 prisoners around. Seeing the rain, Shiryu suddenly did this. They were all a bit unexpected. Even Jinbei, who is next to Ace and will join Luffy's protagonist group in the future, is no exception. Rain Shiryu, are you sure you want to do this? You were imprisoned because you cruelly treated the soldiers in Push City. I'm doing this when I'm redeeming myself for my crimes. I'm waiting for the Marines to come and quell the civil unrest. You must be on the liquidation list. Do you want to stay in Impel Down forever? Rain Shiryu casually shook off the blood on his sword. Said to Jinbei in an indifferent tone. When did Laozi say he would help Magellan? I've disliked that guy for a long time. Now must be the most critical moment for Magellan. That was when I stabbed him. Didn't you feel the tremor just now? That's right, that must be Whitebeard's fruit ability. Such a clear vibration can be felt even on the 6th floor of the sea. I'm afraid Whitebeard's men have already penetrated deeper than the 2nd floor. In this case, Jinbei. If I stab Magellan again, do you think Impel Downs can still hold out until marine reinforcements arrive? Rain Shiryu's tone was very calm. But it is so peaceful. In the entire Impel Down City level 6, everyone's heart exploded with a huge wave. Rain no Shiryu, you are absolutely crazy. Jinbei exclaimed. He even came directly to the cell door. Yelled angrily. Although he was also a prisoner, he knew it clearly. If the city riots at this time, what a terrible impact it will have on the sea. Once the level 6 prisoners see the light of day, it will be a disaster with countless lives lost. Even the residents of Fishman Island were not immune to the disaster. Ha ha ha. Dad really came to save me. I knew he wouldn't give up on me. Ace said excitedly beside Jinbei. And deep in the cell. Crocodile never looked at Shiryu of Rain from beginning to end. It was the body of the marine. Beside him, in addition to the key that unlocks Rain Shiryu's cell, there are other keys. He smiled. Said to Rain Shiryu. Yo, Rain Shiryu. Are you planning on getting revenge on Marine? Then why don't you consider using the key on the ground to free us all? Rain Shiryu heard Crocodile's voice. A hint of deep disdain first appeared in his eyes. Then there was a flash of appreciation. Good idea, that's what I want to see. The keychain on the ground was picked up. The key lock of the level 6 cell emitted a series of harsh metallic collision sounds. The lock is opened. Golden Lion, Burndi, King of Evil Government, Red Earl. Monsters from an old time. Getting ready. Slowly walked out of the cell. Seeing this, Jinbei closed his eyes in despair. The sharp nails pierced directly into the flesh. Blood was flowing out of it. He muttered to himself. It's over. Gurgle gurgle. Gulp gurgle gurgle. There were bursts of noise. Appeared in Magellan's stomach. This is a bad sign. This means that Magellan's 4-hour workday is about to end. He will completely lose his ability to fight. Head to the toilet for a 20-hour spray session. Because the poison fruit is too powerful. This caused Magellan's body to suffer a certain degree of backlash. Little Sadie. Go and help me see when that guy Shiryu will come to help. I really can't hold on any longer. Magellan shouted to the people beside him. A girl with big wavy golden hair, known as Little Sadie. After listening, I could only nod. Run directly towards level 6. As Magellan's subordinate, she naturally knew that the situation was critical. If Yuji Shiryu doesn't come to support the show, even if Magellan put it in his trouser pocket, it would be useless. And opposite Magellan, it's a huge wall of venom. This wall is more than 10 meters high and several meters thick. The road from the 4th floor to the 5th floor is completely blocked. Any object contaminated by this poison will be corroded instantly. Even if you use long-range attack skills, you can only wear down the thickness of the poison wall. Magellan could quickly replenish the lost venom. Jesus raised an eyebrow. It seems like there's a chance for a breakthrough. Magellan has a physical problem. Good opportunity. Ben Beckman clicked his tongue. He said with disbelief. Are you sure? Magellan's ability is too disgusting. Even if I use my domineering power to block it, I will still be infected with the poison. Jesus, if there is something wrong with your intelligence. We are going to lose a few brothers here. Jesus nodded. That's right, trust me. My observation hockey can sense that the energy in his body has begun to become disordered and out of control. In 5 minutes at most, he will lose control of the fruit's power. Even if we do nothing at that time, Magellan will lose his ability to fight. I hope your information is correct. Our time is very precious now. Who knows how much time Whitebeard and Shanks can buy us with Marine. If Marine turns the tables on us, calls in Kong, and launches a full-scale attack on us, then we must retreat. Ben Beckman heard that Jesus Bu came to this conclusion after using his observation hockey. It means nothing anymore. After all, in the Red Hair Pirates, there is only one other person besides the leader Shanks. The person with the strongest observation hockey is the Jesus in front of us. He said there was something wrong with Magellan, so there must be something wrong soon. Everyone began to rest on the spot, waiting for the poison wall released by Magellan to reveal a flaw. And at this time, a loud voice was heard from the passage above. Cry. Then, a deep blue phoenix came rushing over from a distance. The person who came was actually the first captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, Marco. He saw that everyone in the Red Hair Pirates was resting in place. Just because of a wall, we stopped moving forward. I was suddenly a little angry. You guys, now is not the time to relax. If you want to rest, once the mission is completed, I can treat you to a party for a few days and nights. Isn't it the most important thing right now to rescue Ace? Marco's eagerness did not surprise anyone present. Jesus shrugged, said to Marco, Marco, I know you are anxious. But don't rush. In a few minutes at most, this poisonous wall will disappear on its own. Captain Shanks told us that rescuing Ace is the top priority. Of course we will try our best. Marco raised an eyebrow. Obviously, he didn't believe in Jesus, this smooth-talking guy. Wouldn't it be possible to break through this poisonous wall in a matter of minutes? I will take action. Make a big hole, and then you can rush in with me and it will be over. After saying that, Marco immediately transformed into the form of a phoenix. Directly facing the poisonous wall, start accumulating power. Well, young people nowadays just don't listen to advice. Jesus sighed helplessly. The next moment, Marco has finished accumulating strength. A huge beam of light with a diameter of 2 meters blasted towards the poison wall. Instantly, a huge gust of wind erupted. Everyone present narrowed their eyes. But the beam dissipated. Not to mention a hole for someone to break through, the poison wall simply became much thinner. How is it possible? That poison wall can actually corrode even the attacks I released. Marco was visibly shocked. The last time someone shocked him so much was Su Chen. There are only a handful of people in the entire ocean who can block his move just now. If Magellan didn't have any ability, why would Sengoku let him manage Impel Down? Jesus Bu had a look on his face that showed he wasn't going to listen to the old man. Don't worry, we've already tried it. The only thing that can break through the poison wall is domineering power. But Magellan's poison fruit can erode hockey. If you don't cut off the connection with your hockey in time, Magellan can even use hockey to infect you with a deadly poison. Marco's eyes narrowed. Ability to cause such a heaven-defying effect. I'm afraid Magellan's devil fruit ability has already awakened. We can only wait. The conversation between the Red Hair Pirates and Marco was not hidden. Naturally, the news reached Magellan's ears on the other side of the wall. These guys know I can't hold on any longer. What should I do? I can't report to either the Admiral or the Fleet Admiral. At least before I completely pull my pants into my pocket, I must stick to my duties until the last moment. Magellan was extremely grateful that he had slacked off at work. He insists on lifting his anus every day. So at this time, even if it has reached the limit and is about to be unable to hold it back, even the domineering power is no longer usable. But Magellan was still able to display his abilities. If it had happened before, he would have fainted and put the money in his trouser pocket. He thought in his heart, while releasing a large amount of thick venom towards the poisonous wall. Just at this moment, Magellan heard footsteps behind him. He was overjoyed. Very good. It must be little Sati who has returned with Rain Shiryu. At critical moments, it is still my beautiful prison guard who is reliable. Magellan smiled in his heart. But just when he was about to turn around, a bloody sword blade stabbed out from behind him. Magellan's pupils suddenly shrank into pinholes. He could sense the person who was making the sneak attack. By using the armament haki, he directly bypassed the automatic protection ability of the poison fruit. This is what it means to be brave enough to die. Who is it? Magellan, who had already reached his limit at this moment, felt a black screen before his eyes. He fell directly to the ground. Before losing consciousness, he saw Yu Shiryu showing a sinister smile. From a distance, one could see little Sadie lying on the ground, her life or death unknown. Why? Magellan roared in his heart. But he could no longer utter any words. Ha 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 ha. Magellan, die. Rain Shiryu saw himself piercing Magellan's heart. I saw him fall straight down. The butt is facing upwards towards you. He suddenly burst into laughter. He was sure that Magellan was doomed. But at this moment, with a puff, it came suddenly from Magellan Fool. Yu Shiryu was stunned for a moment, then seemed to realize something. I wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Because Magellan lost consciousness. He had been struggling to get out of the way, but now there was finally no obstruction. Start spraying. Although Shiryu of Rain dodged the subsequent large amount of spray and came to the side. But the very beginning part. Not hiding at all. That little piece of stuff. Even because of the laughter of Rain Shiryu, I ejaculated into his mouth. Suddenly, Rain Shiryu's entire face turned pitch black. Magellan fell. He fell down in a very embarrassed manner. Even if I describe it, this chapter may be reviewed and approved by Dear Potato Novel for Harmony. Wall of Venom. Because the constant supply has been lost. It also became a rootless duckweed. Destroyed by Marco and his men. After the venom wall disappeared. Appeared in front of everyone. It's Rain Shiryu with a mad look on his face. At this moment, Yu Shiryu is kneeling on the ground. He frantically dug his hands into his throat. Because he was facing away from everyone. So everyone thought this was some unique battle preparation posture of Rain Shiryu. There are still enemies. It's Rain no Shiryu, I know him. He was the former director of Impel Down. Is it going to be another tough battle? Marco and the others' eyes were full of vigilance. They believed that in order to move forward, they need to defeat Rain Shiryu. But everyone waited for a long time. All of them didn't see Yu Shiryu launch an offensive. He doesn't even want to talk trash. It was only at this time that Marco and his group realized that something was wrong. Jesus was just about to say something to Yu Shiryu. To get some information. But then, he exuded his observation haki. Immediately, I captured something. The whole person stood there stiffly. What's wrong, Jesus? I haven't seen you look like this in a long time. Why do you look like you've seen a ghost? Lackey Lu, who was eating the fat meat, asked with some doubt. But Jesus didn't answer anything. Still had a dull look on his face. Just when everyone was confused. Far away, an extremely familiar figure. He ran out from the stairs. The man was shirtless. He has a pockmarked face and wears a string of strange beads. This was obviously the target of their risky prison break. The second captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. Roger's own son. Fire Fist Ace. Ace, you actually came out. Great, are you okay? Marco saw Ace rushing out from the stairs and jogging towards the crowd. Suddenly, an excited expression appeared on his face. I'm fine. Marco, tell me quickly, what's going on with Daddy now? Marco excitedly hugged Ace and gave him a big bear hug. Dad is up there, holding back the two Marine generals. Don't worry, Dad is very powerful. Even if it's 1 against 3 or 1 against 4, it's totally no problem. Stop talking about this, and follow us to leave Impel Down. Who knows when the Marine support will arrive? The Red Hair Pirates confirmed that Ace was safe and sound. There was also a look of relief in his eyes. Before this action, people also asked Shanks why he took such a big risk. We also need to cooperate with that madman Whitebeard to invade Impel Down. Just to save a small pirate with a mere 500 million bounty. But when Shanks told them the secret that Ace's biological father was Roger, all doubts were instantly dispelled. Ace is Roger's son. Their captain is one of Roger's crew members. Regardless of emotion or reason. Even if it means going through fire and water, Ace must rescue him. Ace, although now is a very bad time to say this. But can you write an autograph for my son? Jesus suddenly interrupted the conversation between Marco and Ace. He took out a strip of cloth and a pen from his pocket. My son's name is Usopp. He will definitely be very happy when he receives the gift. Ace thought for a moment. Are you talking about the guy with the long nose? I saw him on Luffy's pirate ship. That kid wouldn't be happy to receive my autograph, right? After all, I'm just an ordinary pirate. What the hell? Oh my god. Oh my god. Usopp is a pirate, I must be dreaming. Jesus heard that his son had become a pirate. The whole person froze in place. Jesus quickly analyzed the information from Ace's words. Luffy's ship. Before Luffy and his crew caused a big disturbance on Judicial Island, Jesus BU was paying attention. My own son is among them. Instantly Jesus linked the two together. A bounty picture appeared in Jesus Bu's mind. It's the long-nosed bounty with the ugly mask. Sniper King. A great pirate with a bounty of 30 million. How long has my son been out to sea? That's a high reward. Success. An expression of great excitement suddenly appeared on Jesus' old face. He doesn't care what time it is. He showed off directly to Ben Beckman beside him. Oh my, a little notebook. Do you know that the one who caused a commotion on Judicial Island was my son? No, Shanks will be back soon, and I need to talk to him again alone. Ha 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 ha, my son is a big pirate. More promising than his father. A reward of 30 million. The reward for that crocodile guy is only 80 million Baileys. My son must be incredibly powerful. Just as Jesus was excitedly showing off Usopp's achievements to his companions. Suddenly, inexplicable yellow sand appeared on the ground. There was even the sound of leather shoes in the distance. Ta, da, da. Everyone is not a weak person, and their 5 senses are naturally strong. They all discovered the sound coming from the end of the passage. Someone's coming again. Who is this old man, talking about lousy here? Crocodile's voice, coming from the passage. Suddenly everyone was very surprised. Ace wasn't the only one who escaped. Crocodile, one of the former Shichibukai, also managed to escape from prison. Beep, what's wrong with you? Isn't your bounty only 88 million? I'm not telling the truth. Haha, I remember now, Alabasta, you were also defeated by the Straw Hat Boys. You are my son's defeated opponent. Ha ha, Jesus said with a smug look on his face. Ben Beckman frowned. Hey, Jesus, don't get carried away. We are not out of danger yet. Crocodile snorted. Straw Hat Boy, that's exactly what happened. No wonder I hate him so much, it turns out he's your son. If I wasn't in a hurry to get out of here, I might really fight with you. Crocodile said. He simply ignored Jesus and the crowd. It turned directly into dust and flew towards level 3. Let's go. Get out of here, Marco said to Ace. But at this moment, without any warning, several figures walked out of the passage again. Golden Lion, Burndy, the king of evil government, the Red Earl. These monsters of the old times. One by one they appeared in everyone's sight. They didn't care about the people present at all. Even people like Marco and Ben Beckman whose bounties are in the tens figures. It seems that in their eyes, we are all just like ants. Everyone's pupils were shaking. It took a long time for everyone to recover. They looked at each other. They all saw the same answer from each other's eyes. Impel Down, it's over. Something big is going to happen in this ocean. Marine Headquarters. Inside the Fleet Admiral's office. Sengoku Fleet Admiral was pacing back and forth anxiously. Staff Officer He on the side saw this. He shook his head helplessly. What's the use of worrying? Just take a good rest. Gather your strength. Maybe the red-haired man will come and you will need to suppress him. Didn't you already send Garp to Impel Down? Let's hope Garp can handle the riot in Impel Down properly. I believe in Garp's strength. He will have no problem restraining Whitebeard at least. When Aokiji and Akainu are free, we can take care of those invading pirates." Sengoku sighed. "Nod. Sit back in the chair. Staff officer, he is right. No matter how anxious I am now, it will be in vain. Marine has deployed the best command. There's no use in being anxious. Now I should take good care of myself and conserve my energy. Come take on the upcoming red-haired Shanks. Push forward to the city. Even if a top warrior like Garp was sent, it would still not be able to solve the riot and Impel Down. I'm afraid I can only ask for help from my immediate boss, Kong Gang." That's when it happened. In front of the Warring States period. The Den Den Mushi started ringing. It's a Den Mushi for emergency contact. Zongguo's eyes turned serious. I answered the phone immediately. But after the call was connected, no sound came immediately. The Warring States period was somewhat confused. What's going on? Is the person on the other end of the phone mute? But soon, Jinbei's voice came out. "Fleet Admiral Sengoku, I'm Sea Knight Jinbei. That former 7 warlords of the sea who was removed from the list. I know who you are. Jinbei, aren't you being held in the secret level 6 in Impel Down? Why did you call me like this? How did you get the emergency Den Den Mushi? What on earth is happening in Impel Down now?" For Jinbei's call, Sengoku Fleet Admiral showed great surprise. Aside, Staff Officer Suru overheard the conversation between Fleet Admiral Sengoku and Jinbei. His complexion suddenly changed. Jinbei was able to call Zongguo. And he used a secret emergency contact phone bug. There is only one possibility. That means level 6 failed. The entire Push City has been completely occupied. Marine failed. Just like you guessed, Sengoku Fleet Admiral. Maybe it's worse than you think. The situation is urgent now, so I'd better make it short. Rain Shiryu betrayed, and he got the key to Magellan's 6th floor prison. Let Ace go, as well as Red Earl, Golden Lion and the others. I'm on the 4th floor now. The Den Den Mushi was taken from Magellan. Magellan has a puncture wound on his chest. Although he is still breathing faintly, I'm afraid he is already dying. What? After Chief of Staff Suru and Fleet Admiral Sengoku heard Jinbei's report on the situation in Impel Down. They shouted in unison. They gasped almost at the same time. Hiss hiss hiss. Rain Shiryu betrayed. He actually let all the guys on level 6 go. Something big happened. This person was secretly imprisoned on the 6th floor of Impel Down. If they were released, each of them would be a figure that could cause an earthquake in the world. Compared to this, Sengoku and Chief of Staff Crane think. Magellan's death and Shiryu's betrayal no longer matter. Just a Red Earl. Or maybe Shiki the Golden Lion. It is already comparable to the 4 emperors. Now push forward the city's marine strength. Even with the marine hero Garp, there is also the support of the newly appointed 4th Marine General Su Chen. Will these pirates, who were once famous on the sea, surrender? I think I know the answer. Face these enemies. Want to suppress. It is almost an impossible task. The worst outcome. Even the entire Impel Down city will disappear into the sea. If this thing really happened, I'm afraid Marine will be nailed to the pillar of shame. Jinbei, no matter what your purpose is, report this to me. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Zongguo hesitated for a few seconds. Said on the phone, no need to thank me, I am just an ordinary person in this whole ocean. You should know better than me what the consequences would be if these guys escaped. Let's not talk nonsense. I know you have more important things to do now. Jinbei finished speaking. He just hung up the phone. The moment the phone was hung up, Sengoku didn't hesitate. I just used Den Den Mushi to dial another number. This phone call. It's the number of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Kong Gang. Zongguo, even if you ask Kong for help now, it will take at least 3 hours. Only then can they gather all the manpower and support Advanced City. Staff officer, he reminded. She thought that calling Kong Gang for help would not be of any use at all in the battlefield of Impel Down, which was full of powerful people and changing rapidly. What else can we do? Would you rather watch our Marines Admiral and your precious grandson die? I'm willing to throw away my old face and ask for help from Kong. Even if it only increases their chances of survival by 0.01%, it's worth it. Don't you know who the prisoners on the 6th floor are? Golden Lion, Red Earl, World Breaker Burndy. Each of these guys would be enough to give Garp a headache. If they all escape from prison, do you think Su Chen and his team can stop them? While Sengoku refuted Chief of Staff Crane, he quickly entered Kyombi Sora's number. If only one Whitebeard invaded Impel Down. That Zhongguo relied on his understanding of Su Chen. He believed that Su Chen could suppress the rebellion. After all, we have Garp and Aokiji Akainu to help. With his strange ability, there would be no problem in holding Whitebeard back and dealing with the others. But what if we add the other prisoners on the 6th floor? Zhongguo would not hesitate for a second. If we attack together, it would take Garp's peak combat power. Or maybe Roger Rocks is resurrected. Otherwise, it would be impossible to be the opponent of these vicious prisoners. It can even save your life. Warring States is lucky. After all, as long as the person is not dead, there is still a chance for everything. In Zhongguo's heart, he was extremely unwilling. But he had already made the difficult preparation to give up pushing the city. Hey, Sengoku, I got the message. Your Impel downtown has been invaded by Whitebeard, right? Call me now. Haha, you guys can't handle it, are you ready to ask me for help? The call is connected. Came Steelbone Sora's voice. No time for nonsense. The situation is extremely urgent. The prisoners on the 6th floor of Advanced City have escaped collectively. I request maximum support. I have just found out the reason why Whitebeard and Red Hair invaded Impel Down. To rescue the descendants of One Piece Roger. On the other end of the phone. Steel Bone Kong, who was originally in a joking mood. There was silence for a moment. Only the sound of heavy breathing remained. I will send support as quickly as possible. I know it's almost impossible. Before that, you must hold on. Even if it means paying the greatest sacrifice, we must not let Roger's offspring be rescued. Boom boom boom. A large amount of ice debris and magma exploded in the air. Appeared with it. There were also terrifying tremors like an earthquake. Aokiji and Akainu both retreated violently at the same time. With extremely fast speed, he dodged the oncoming shock wave. The shock wave was so fast, but it looked so slow. In fact, it is only slightly less bright than Borsellino's. Aokiji whispered, quickly analyzing Whitebeard's current combat effectiveness. Marine is under a lot of pressure right now. Faced with the organized and premeditated prison break plan by Whitebeard and the Red Hair Pirates. They simply can't be bothered with everything. I just don't know if Magellan and Yuji Shiryu can resist those vice captains with a bounty of more than 1 billion. Aokiji, you can't hold back. Otherwise, this guy Whitebeard will drag our Marines to death. Akainu gritted his teeth, although Whitebeard fought with them for dozens of rounds. But neither side used their true abilities to the fullest. The reason is simple. Push City could not withstand the aftermath of the battle between these monster-level warriors. If both sides showed their true strength, I'm afraid the entire propulsion city built on the seabed would be completely destroyed. As Marine admirals, they naturally could not allow such a thing to happen. Under this premise, Akainu and Aokiji felt very frustrated. If we were on flat ground, we could completely let go of our hands and feet. Akainu believes he has teamed up with Aokiji. Not to mention defeating Whitebeard quickly, but suppressing him is still no problem at all. How could it be as frustrating as it is now? Are you sure that Push City is gone? Can you take on this responsibility? Aokiji was clearly hesitant. If these prisoners escape, you won't be able to take responsibility. If you are timid, then all the responsibility will be on me alone. Do you think that if we hold Whitebeard back, Magellan and Shiryu can take down those people together? Akainu's eyes were cold. Aokiji took a deep breath, thought about it again and again, and nodded. Let's do it this way. You're right. If these people get out, the problem will be even more serious. If the higher-ups blame me, the worst that can happen is I'll just resign. After saying that, Aokiji's aura surged again. It is not much inferior to Whitebeard. Akainu saw that Aokiji was willing to use all his strength, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Whitebeard, don't think your plan has succeeded. Victory finally belongs to us Marines. Whitebeard heard Akainu's words. There was no reaction. Instead, he simply closed his eyes, as if he was feeling something. Aokiji, Akainu, I'm glad you're finally willing to show your true abilities. But it's still a step too late. My plan has been completely successful. Whitebeard smiled brightly, and burst into laughter. He is already able to use observation hockey. Feel the breath of Ace. It is on the 3rd floor, and is rapidly moving towards the 2nd prison level of the advanced city. Marco and his team's operation was successful. Ace has been rescued. The following battle with Aokiji and Akainu was meaningless. As long as everyone retreats safely, this plan to rescue Ace is perfect and couldn't be more perfect. Oops, what's going on with Magellan? Why are a large number of pirates approaching the 2nd floor? Aokiji's face changed. He also sensed the presence of Ace people through his observation hockey. At this time, a blue flame appeared from far away. Very fast. It's Marco in bird form. He came to Whitebeard's side at a very fast speed. Report it immediately. Dad, Ace is rescued. Prepare to retreat. Many monsters on the level 6 floor were released by someone unknown. I don't know many of them, but just feeling their aura makes me shiver. Whitebeard nodded. Ace is okay, I'm glad you're all okay. Boys, the plan has been successful. Prepare to retreat. He just yelled loudly. The signal for retreat was given. Many members of the Whitebeard pirates heard the signal to retreat. They all began to quickly gather towards the entrance of Advanced City. Akainu frowned. Come when you want, leave when you want. Whose territory do you think this is? After saying that, he was ready to punch the wall of Push City directly. Directly destroy the prison of Impel Down. Let all the prisoners who want to escape be buried in the sea. Whitebeard still had a bright smile on his face. Kasasuke, you are quite naive. You think until my children are safely evacuated. Can you destroy the wall? It's totally a pair, whatever Akainu does. They were all expressions he could handle. It was at this time that Ace and his group finally arrived at the 2nd level of the Impel Down city. I saw Father Whitebeard confronting Akainu Aokiji. Ace also showed an excited smile. Whitebeard nodded. It's good that you're all right, leave now. With me as your backup, you'll all be fine. Ace is not a pretentious person. After nodding, he immediately followed the other crew members of the Whitebeard pirates. Run towards the entrance of Advanced City. Seeing Ace walk away so arrogantly, Akainu immediately flashed away, exploded towards Ace's direction. The right fist turned directly into lava. It is bound to put Ace to death. But Whitebeard is not a vegetarian either. He directly blocked it with the naginata clenched in his right hand. Akainu's terrifyingly powerful fist. It was intercepted just like that. There was no way to affect Ace's escape. Ace saw that Akainu was going to deal with him, so he ran faster. He knew it clearly. These Marines are getting anxious. Aokiji, do something. Akainu saw Whitebeard trying to stop him, and Ace had already escaped quickly. I couldn't help but yell at Aokiji beside me. Aokiji sighed. Whitebeard, you can't escape unscathed. Give it up. Ice Age. Countless coldness spread in all directions. Some pirates nearby. It turned directly into an ice sculpture. Ice crystals spread very quickly. Just a few blinks of an eye. Almost catching up with Ace. A trifle. Whitebeard snorted coldly. While blocking Akainu's attack with the naginata, he punched directly into the air with his right hand. The space is torn apart instantly. Directly shattered the frozen field released by Aokiji. There are still some attacks that are about to reach Ace. It was also directly blocked by Marco using the undead flame. The pirates who were frozen into ice sculptures also resumed their actions at this time. They all desperately fled towards the entrance. See Ace getting closer and closer to escape. Aokiji and Akainu both had extremely serious expressions on their faces. Revealed a hint of powerlessness. It faintly reveals helplessness and despair. In contrast, the pirate forces. The expressions are all full of joy. It's like a party. It's the pirate forces. I think this one is stable. The plan to break into the prison and advance into the city had been completely successful. Is this Impel Downtown a place for you pirates to act arrogantly? The entrance to the city of Advance. A faint voice came from above. The sound is not loud. Most pirates don't care at all. They all continued to flee towards the entrance. But in the ears of some people, this sound was undoubtedly like a thunderous explosion. Almost at the same time, Whitebeard, Ace, and Marco all looked up. Look in the direction where the sound came from. Who is the owner of this voice? They know it all too well. Ace was imprisoned in Impel Down. This guy can be said to be the culprit. It's Su Chen who is here. Why is it him again? Ace is about to escape Impel Down. I couldn't help but grit my teeth. It's okay, Ace. It shouldn't be a big problem. We know Su Chen's methods well. His offensive prowess is not strong, but mostly he has some weird abilities. We just need to escape. Su Chen can't stop us. On the ground. Whitebeard heard Su Chen's voice. The originally bright and confident smile. It also froze in place in an instant. With Su Chen joining. Although it might be difficult to stop Ace. But this did not prevent Su Chen from implementing Akainu's idea. Directly destroy the entire Impel Down city. Let everyone be buried in the sea. If Su Chen really did this. Even now their plan has been more than 95% successful. They will all be burned to ashes. Therefore, we absolutely cannot allow Su Chen to destroy the building structure of the advanced city in such a short period of time. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. When Whitebeard was anxious, there were bursts of footsteps coming from behind. From far to near. Ha ha ha. What an arrogant boy. Does he alone want to suppress all of his prisoners who are planning to escape from prison? It's really fun. A newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. Several people appeared from a distance. It was the Golden Lion Shiki group. Whitebeard saw it. I was originally feeling a little anxious. Disappeared in an instant. Marco's information just now was accurate. This is the one who was imprisoned under the city. It turned out to be these remnants of the old times. Since they wanted to escape from prison, they would not leave Su Chen alone, who might destroy the city. No matter how powerful Su Chen is, can he control a group of top experts? It's totally impossible. Even Akainu and Aokiji. When I saw Golden Lion Burndy and others, their faces all revealed an incomparable solemnity. Aokiji was originally hesitant about whether to destroy the city. He even chose to shoot an ice arrow directly at the wall beside him. These old monsters must not be allowed to escape from Push City. Huh, what do you want? Are you planning to let us, the poor prisoners who have been locked up for so long, die in the sea? The Golden Lion Shiki laughed twice. He no longer had the seastone shackles on him. The floating fruit can be used at will. That ice arrow that Aokiji shot at the wall. In an instant, it floated towards the sky. Completely lost the ability to attack. Aokiji's eyes were serious. He shouted directly towards the sky, in the direction of Su Chen. Su Chen, hurry up. Destroy the load-bearing structure of Impel Down. Destroy Impel Down. Su Chen suddenly appeared. It can be said that this is Marine's last hope now. Only the Impel Down city was destroyed. Only then can we stop these guys from escaping. Want to destroy Impel Down? That won't do. But I still have to go out. Burndy, who is known as the World Destroyer, rubbed his body, which was a little stiff due to being frozen. He said as he spoke, while tapping the ground lightly with his toes. The Momo fruit ability is activated. He can increase his own speed, or the speed and size of the things he touches. Directly magnify 1 to 100 times. Such a horrible and perverted ability. In an instant, his figure disappeared from the spot. Much faster than a bullet. He came directly to Su Chen. Burndy is very fast. With the blessing of Momo fruit. Burndy amplified 100 times faster. It's almost impossible to capture even when using the Haki of Insight and Color. He came to Su Chen. He directly punched Su Chen in the direction. Seeing Burndy directly choose to take action to stop Su Chen. A look of excitement flashed in Whitebeard's eyes. Very good. Activating fruit abilities is a process. It is true that Su Chen has a devil fruit with the ability to seal. But as long as he is defeated before he activates his ability, then Su Chen has no effect. Akainu and Aokiji also changed their expressions drastically. If Burndy had stopped Su Chen from successfully destroying the Impel City, then who else can stop these monsters who have been imprisoned for countless years? Escape from Impel Down City. But what I never expected was, faced with Burndy's extremely fast punch, Su Chen had no choice at all to use the ability to seal the devil fruit and Haki. Instead, he smiled directly at Burndy. It's that smile that seems to control every situation that Whitebeard hates the most. Burndy's attack was frozen in midair. His whole body seemed to have been suspended in time. Burndy fell weakly behind her. Then he never got up again. Burndy, known as the Destroyer of Worlds. He lost his combat effectiveness immediately. Yes, this is Su Chen's method. He used Sage Art Echo. Heart stealing. The one closest to Su Chen's location. Ace, Marco and others. The whole person was frozen in place. In their eyes. Full of disbelieving shock. How did Su Chen do it? Why did Burndy collapse like this? Have you lost your ability to fight like that? Although Ace doesn't know this world destroyer who has been sealed for many years. But he could feel it from Burndy. That aura of strength. It made his hair stand on end. But such a strong man fell like this. Even Su Chen didn't do anything. I haven't even said the second sentence yet. It wasn't just Ace and Marco who were shocked. Whitebeard in the distance. The same is true for pupil earthquakes. Others don't know what's going on with Burndy. Whitebeard who has been sailing on the sea for so many years. How could you not know? A great pirate who had a bounty of hundreds of millions on his head. Now he was defeated directly and instantly by Su Chen. What is going on with this kid? No. This kid is full of secrets. His variables are too great. Su Chen absolutely cannot be allowed to ruin his plan. The golden lion on the side suddenly raised his eyebrows and commented on Su Chendao. Funny boy. No wonder he talks so arrogantly. It seems that he does have some abilities. Whitebeard snorted coldly. This guy's methods are weird. He can release a strange realm, in which the devil fruit abilities and domineering power of everyone except him will disappear. I heard Whitebeard say this. It's not just the golden lions who are surprised. Everyone who escaped from level 6 was shocked. There is such a weird ability in the world. Look, you can't underestimate this kid. Whitebeard said solemnly. Guys, now we have the same interests, we both want to escape Impel Down City. I owe you a favor, please cooperate with me. Deal with Marine together and escape from Impel Down. Destroy the structure of Impel Down. Su Chen looked ahead. Already fallen to the ground. Burndy completely incapable of fighting. He murmured, repeating what Aokiji had just said to him. Now that you have the extremely destructive Sage Art Echo Thunder. Su Chen has already surpassed the ordinary generals in strength. Of course, it has the ability to directly destroy the City of Advance in a short period of time. But if we do this, we will push all the prisoners into the city. I guess they're all going to die. Su Chen immediately understood. Marine is now completely unable to withstand the attack from the pirate forces. Then letting the prisoners of Impel Down escape from Impel Down. Obviously, it was to directly destroy the City of Advance. Let these prisoners who deserved to die be buried in the sea. For Marine, this is a more acceptable result. With Whitebeard here, it is estimated that before the members of their pirate group evacuate, Aokiji and Akainu are both unable to destroy the walls of Impel Down, right? After all, it was during the war at the top. Whitebeard is almost at the end of his rope. You can still press Akainu and hit. At least before Akainu became Fleet Admiral, his single combat capability was definitely not as good as that of Whitebeard today. Su Chen, there's no time. Quick, push into the city. Seeing Su Chen didn't move, Akainu was anxious and also shouted loudly, urging Su Chen to act quickly. But Su Chen did not listen to Akainu and Aokiji. He can't do that. This time, the system check-in location is level 6 in the Impel Down City. If the Impel Down City is destroyed, you might not be able to sign in. Su Chen didn't want to make any mistakes. So of course he won't destroy Impel Down. But now the problem arises again. Now on the second floor of Impel Down, there are several old monsters from the One Piece movie. Let's just talk about the Golden Lion, the holder of the float fruit. If you run away, something bad will happen. Su Chen is a Marine Admiral. At least that's the plan before returning to the original world. Performing the duties of a Marine Admiral. This is also for himself. After all, if Golden Lion escapes from prison, the plot of One Piece will be out of Su Chen's control. That was unacceptable to Su Chen. So now, Su Chen not only has to go to level 6, but also has to stop these old monsters from escaping from prison. This is the difficulty facing Su Chen. This is also why, after Su Chen defeated Burndy, no further action was taken. But the reason is that I have been thinking about countermeasures all the time. Right now, In front of us is the exit to escape from Impel Down. Marco and Ace were extremely anxious. As long as he could leave Su Chen, he would be able to return to the Sea of Freedom. But there is only this step. They feel that the difficulty is greater than the entire Impel Down city. A month ago, Su Chen could only try his best to stop Whitebeard's actions. But now, the World Destroyer Brandy is no match for Su Chen. Marco, what should we do now? Ace swallowed. The heart that was just excited because of regaining freedom. At this moment, because I met Su Chen. And it's mostly cold. It's tricky. Marco frowned. Although his strength is already strong on the sea. But facing Su Chen, Marco still felt powerless. Having experienced Su Chen's abilities, he knew it clearly. As long as we start a war with Su Chen at this time. Such a high probability. Now they are a group of people. There's no escape at all. If you want to leave Push City, you have to wait for the truly powerful people downstairs to take action. Whitebeard was not far away. The two sharp knives on the golden lion's feet made a hole in the ground. If this kid really has the strange abilities that Whitebeard said. Now we have to do something. Be careful not to let this guy really listen to Akainu and drag us down with him. Everybody, use whatever abilities you have. There was a rare flash of solemnity in everyone's eyes. After all, they are all strong. Can feel it from Su Chen. That vague sense of danger. Su Chen, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and do it. We will help you delay as much time as possible. Aokiji saw that Su Chen had no intention of taking any action. My whole scalp is tingling. No action yet. At this moment, he really felt that Su Chen was his ancestor. Could it be that Su Chen didn't know that these guys had run away? What kind of impact will it have on the entire world? If Aokiji didn't know Su Chen's past, he would have thought that Su Chen was an undercover agent hidden in Marine. Dark Hound. Next to Aokiji, Akainu's temperature rose rapidly. The magma has already condensed on his right fist. It turned out to be Akainu's ultimate move. In the original One Piece manga, Akainu used this move to smash half of Whitebeard's face. You can see its terrifying power. What are you talking about? Aokiji. Just let Su Chen do it. If he doesn't want to destroy Push City, he has any other ideas. I will trust him and cooperate with him. Aokiji took a deep breath. On the surrounding ground, frost also began to appear. You were right. Just trust that kid. The two of them finished talking. It was directed towards everyone present. Launch the most violent attack. Whitebeard snorted coldly. He ignored Akainu and Aokiji's attacks. Instead, he used the tremor fruit and punched towards Su Chen. He had already seen Ace and others being stopped by Su Chen. He is doing this now to create a way for Ace and the others to escape. The terrifying shock wave was rapidly approaching Su Chen. The pirates around Su Chen all changed their expressions drastically. He dodged in a panic. And facing Su Chen, who was at the center of the shock wave. His expression was extremely calm. He muttered to himself. 3 seconds. That's enough. In just a moment. Su Chen had already asked the system in his mind. Arriving at the check-in location. What is the minimum time required to sign in? The answer is 3 seconds. After understanding the information you need. Su Chen finally took action. He raised his right hand slightly. In an instant, a terrifying dark cloud gathers above Impel Down. All this happened in just half a second. Amidst the rolling dark clouds. Condensed into a terrifying thunder. Almost in the blink of an eye. That terrifying thunder fell down. It directly shattered the oncoming shock wave like a rotten tree. Whitebeard's attack was easily resolved. This is not the end yet. Terrifying thunder and lightning. It is 5 meters thick. If I had to make a metaphor, it would be a terrifying semi-trailer dump truck. It hit the ground hard. In an instant, an earthquake larger than that caused by the tremor fruit. The sound was even more powerful, and it appeared throughout the entire city. Everyone present changed their expressions. It was the thunder performed by Su Chen. Take action. Thunder hit the ground. The terrifying gale made everyone present squint their eyes. Even those who were weak were stunned by the terrifying power of thunder. Whitebeard stuck his naginata directly into the ground. His hands were also in front of him. His expression changed from confidence at the beginning, to solemnity later, and finally to shock now. Everything It's all because of Su Chen. What a terrifying power of thunder. I'm afraid he's not inferior to Enel from Sky Island. What's going on with this kid? Why is he using the power of thunder? Brandi was defeated just now. It's obvious that Guy did something. In this way, this kid now has 4 unique abilities. After Whitebeard analyzed Su Chen, Shocked made the statement. The golden lion Shiki standing next to him also blocked his body with his hands. Very surprised. What a terrifying power. If he gets hit head on, even Kaido would be hurt. No wonder Whitebeard wants to join forces with us to deal with this kid. It's really tricky. I'm afraid this kid is as good as 2 Marine Admirals. Akainu and Aokiji also retreated rapidly. The punch they threw just now made the pirates afraid and retreated far away. Then Su Chen took action. The 2 of them looked at the horrific thunder caused by Su Chen. There was a dull look on his face. What's going on? This kid has a new ability. Another, Fruit Awakening. Akainu said doubtfully. Aokiji's mouth twitched. It took a while to recover. You should believe that I am rocks instead of believing that the boy's ability is the awakening of the fruit. But generally speaking, with Su Chen here, the pressure on both of us should be much less. Maybe we can stop Whitebeard's plan without destroying Impel Down. Push forward the city entrance. Chaton and Momoshiki finally arrived at the entrance of Impel Down. As soon as it comes up, they felt the terrifying thunder released by Su Chen. In an instant, Lieutenant General Chaton sat down on the ground. A flash of fear flashed in his eyes. Again, of course he understood what this thunder was about. Back in the underground world of Dressrosa, he was almost killed by the aftermath of the terrifying thunder released by Su Chen. Chaton feels like he has a psychological shadow. Seeing this terrifying thunder, my legs can't stop shaking. What a useless thing. Momoshiki glanced at Chaton who was sitting on the ground. Snorted coldly. This little scene scared you so much. If those pirates saw it, it would be a disgrace to us Marines. Otherwise, wait until we get back to Marine headquarters. Just hand in your resignation to Fleet Admiral. After Momoshiki said this, the world abandoned Chitonkaji. Straight into the Impel Down city. As soon as you enter the city of Advance, the destructive will of thunder contained in the air. It becomes more intense. Momoshiki Gion couldn't control herself and put her hands in front of her face. She subconsciously looked around, but there was no sign of Su Chen. What's going on? It was obvious that Su Chen was just on the same boat as them. Why did you lose track? It should be nearby. Momoshiki was puzzled. But she finally looked down at the ground. Standing there were Whitebeard and many powerful men including Akainu Aokiji. The most central. It is a huge pit nearly 10 meters in diameter. The huge beam of lightning has disappeared. But in the air was already filled with sparks. If you get a little closer, there will be a burst of intense lightning. What a terrifying thunder, Momoshiki commented truthfully. If this thunder fell on her, not to mention resistance, I guess he didn't even realize it. The whole person was turned into powder by the thunder. Momoshiki sighed in her heart. Compared to the previous time in Dressrosa, now Su Chen released the thunder. Obviously he didn't use his full strength. At most, only 1/3 of it is used. If you really release it with all your strength, I'm afraid that the bottom of this advanced city will be penetrated by Su Chen's thunder. What Momoshiki Gion didn't know was, back in Dressrosa, Su Chen didn't use thunder with all his strength. If it were to exert its full strength, I'm afraid the entire underground of Dressrosa would be destroyed. Su Chen will pierce a big hole in them. The T-Pig behind. After being humiliated by Momoshiki, the fear in my heart was immediately overcome. He quickly followed Momoshiki's steps. Arrived inside the Impel Down city. As soon as he came in, just happened to be Su Chen's figure. From the bottom of the large hole on the second level. Ran out. Appeared in the center area of everyone. It is not far from Momoshiki T-Pig, Ace Marco and everyone else. Now he has come to his senses. I saw Su Chen was no longer at the entrance. There was a flash of excitement in Marco's eyes. Very good. It's the Marine Vice Admiral from before. That can be dealt with. As long as it's not Su Chen. Or maybe Admiral Marine. Marco believes that everyone can find a way out. Ace, get ready to rush out with me. Ace nodded. The flame fruit is activated, and the whole body is covered in flames. The breath is moving. Momoshiki and Chaton immediately noticed something not far away. There was a large group of people led by Marco. Momoshiki Gion looked solemn. She has fought with Marco before. Be aware of the other party's strength. The other side now has the advantage in numbers. It may not be easy to stop them from leaving Push City. Momoshiki was having a dilemma. The T-Pig on the side was already ready to stand alone against 10,000 enemies. His hands turned black immediately. Marco hasn't taken any action yet. Chaton rushed over directly. Chaton, wait. Your injuries haven't healed yet, you are only at the level of Lieutenant General at best. You can't deal with those guys. Just as Momoshiki drew out the kinpira from her waist, she saw Chaton rushing forward with a fearless look. Her expression suddenly changed. The battle itself is difficult enough, and now the teammates are going straight up to give up. How do you play this? Not surprising. Just 30 rounds. Chaton Kaji was subdued by Marco and Ace. Marco's entire body was covered in blue flames, exuding a strong aura, although the aura emanating from Momoshiki Gion is equally strong. But in the end they were outnumbered and there was no Chaton to share the pressure. With Marco leading the way, it was almost a pipe dream to stop everyone. Miss Lieutenant General, please make way. You alone can't stop so many of us. Marco said calmly. It was clearly a winning statement. Momoshiki gritted her teeth and subconsciously looked down. In the direction of Su Chen. That is, at the same time. In Su Chen's mind, the system voice sounded. Ding ding ding. Sign-in completed. Congratulations host for winning Sage Art. Excitation. Kid, what did you just do? Whitebeard frowned. Looking at Su Chen in front of him. Perception captured through observation hockey. Whitebeard noticed it clearly. The big hole that Su Chen had just created with the help of thunder. Go deep into the interior of the city. As for what Su Chen did, Whitebeard didn't know. Su Chen ignored Whitebeard. Instead, he looked calmly at the palm of his hand. The effect of stimulation. It's a bit tasteless. Fortunately, the system has finally been upgraded. With the next sign-in, there will be endless rewards. At least it's a trip without a white hits card. But the next check-in location is actually Wano country. Tisk, it's a bit far. Su Chen said to himself. After successful sign-in, along with stimulation, Sage Art was injected into Su Chen's body. Su Chen finally understood the impact of Sage Art this time. Inspire, the effect of Sage Art is very simple. This is different from the worldview of 10 Days End, where it is easier to get an echo effect. The stimulation that Su Chen obtained can greatly stimulate the potential of his body. If you use it on yourself, this is the ability to control some of the future that still exists in potential. Inspire directly, so Su Chen felt that Sage Art was a bit useless. But soon, Su Chen fully understood the full usage of this trigger, Sage Art. He immediately changed his mind about Sage Art. This is Sage Art. If it is released to others, that's a great effect. Directly increase your strength by percentage. The 7 treasure glazed tower. Su Chen couldn't help but complain inwardly. This is a noble percentage increase. For the top powerful people in the One Piece world. If you increase their percentage, the effect will be exaggerated to the point of explosion. It may be that Akainu and Aokiji would need to fight for 10 days and 10 nights before the winner could be determined. But if Su Chen's Sage Art is used to increase the percentage, then half an hour at most. Both sides can determine the winner. Even if Su Chen is willing, he can enhance Aokiji. Then the future Marine Admiral will be Aokiji, not Akainu. The percentage increase of top powerhouses is so exaggerated. Just when Su Chen was thinking, he suddenly discovered. His body began to float uncontrollably. The distance between me and the ground beneath my feet is getting farther and farther. Su Chen raised his eyebrows slightly. I immediately understood what happened. Shiki the golden lion attacked himself. It is the ability of the floating fruit. At the same time, Whitebeard not far away, seeing that Su Chen did not respond for a long time. The cloud in his hand also made a rotation. It was heading straight towards Su Chen. This seems to be a signal. Almost all level 6 prisoners attacked Su Chen at the same time. Certainly. Except one person. This man is tall and thin. Her white hair was braided into 2 braids that hung on her shoulders, and she was wearing a plum-red shirt and blood-red trousers. In his hand he held a slender bat-handled umbrella. It was the Red Earl. Him at this moment. He was looking at Su Chen in front of him with great interest. Interesting. All these years. This is the first time I've seen such a wicked little devil. She's only in her 20s, but she actually feels a bit like a threat to me. No wonder the proud Whitebeard would bow his head and ask us for help. If this monster grows up, I'm afraid he will be no less powerful than rocks. The Red Earl smiled. This is how Su Chendao was evaluated. Aside, Aokiji and Akainu watched Su Chen being suspended in the air. They are all tearful. Something bad has happened. Why didn't Su Chen quickly release the power of his fruit to seal the power of the Golden Lion's floating fruit? Is there no way to release it? In this case, the body is controlled by the float fruit. The whole body is suspended in the air. He looks like a living target. What if everyone focused on this? He was severely injured almost immediately and lost his ability to fight. Even think a little pessimistically. The moment Su Chen is attacked and focused on, his health bar will be emptied. Died immediately. Such a monstrous genius has just appeared in Marine. But now he is facing the fate of being killed in the city. Akainu and Aokiji witnessed all this. How can I not despair? On the high platform, the entrance to the city of Impel Down. Momoshiki Gion holding a precious sword Kanpyra. Once again, we faced off against Marco Ace. The terrifying flashes of swords and sabers. Cutting around like crazy. Ace's entire body was cut by flames, leaving numerous wounds. Marco took more hits. There was even a lot of bright red blood. However, with the power of the Phoenix Fruit, the wound healed quickly. It's obvious. Momoshiki Gion's attack comes with armament haki. It directly neutralized the devil fruit abilities of the two people. A hint of surprise flashed in the eyes of Ace and Marco at the same time. They didn't expect it. Momoshiki Gion was actually in a situation of exchanging injuries for injuries. Delaying them for so long. No matter what, I won't let you pass. Momoshiki Gion's chest heaved violently. There were hundreds of wounds of varying sizes all over his body. Especially the wound on the slender waist. He couldn't see clearly because of his clothes, but a large amount of blood was constantly pouring out. It was obviously a serious wound, and Momoshiki was in a very bad condition. Her fair face became even paler due to excessive blood loss. It looks particularly pitiful, but the expression on his face was so resolute. This is contrary to the determination shown by Momoshiki Gion. It's her physical strength. Facing the attack from two people, she was rapidly falling. Now it seems that even speaking is a bit difficult. As Whitebeard's ship doctor, I can tell you clearly. With your current physical condition, continue to fight with us. If you don't bandage and stop the bleeding, you will definitely die. I can give you a chance to live, just get out of our way. Or maybe you were born with a strong servile nature and you like being a dog for the celestial dragons so much. Marco frowned slightly, and blue flames rose from his body. A final ultimatum was issued to Momoshiki Gion. As long as she doesn't make way for everyone. Then comes the next battle. He is about to kill me. Momoshiki Gion held his shoulders and gasped heavily. She felt like she couldn't hold the Jinpi Luo tightly anymore. He said that he was facing Ace and Marco. But in fact, there are dozens or even hundreds of people attacking behind them. If you relax even a little, these guys will shoot you from behind and attack you. This put Momoshiki in a complete disadvantage. Who wants to be a dog of the celestial dragons? Don't you know what will happen to the civilians of the entire world if those vicious guys on level 6 escape? I admit that there are many pirates who don't kill innocent people. They are more like adventurers who call themselves pirates. But apart from them, most of the pirates are demons who kill without blinking an eye and plunder the wealth of ordinary people. That's why I first joined Marine. Let's fight. Even if I die, I won't let you pass. Momoshiki Gion's eyes were solemn. Slowly stood up straight. Excessive blood loss made Momoshiki feel dizzy at the moment. Even controlling the domineering aura to cover the body for defense was a bit difficult. She knew that Marco was probably right. I really can't hold on any longer. Marco shook his head helplessly. All right, since you are determined to die, I don't mind taking your life. We have wasted enough time. If we don't leave Impel Down now, I'm afraid something might happen. After he finished speaking, a sharp cry suddenly came from behind him. His aura surged. It is to deliver the final blow to Momoshiki Gion. Marco turned into a stream of light and rushed directly towards her. Seeing this, Ace shook his head helplessly. He knows. Given Momoshiki Gion's current situation, it can't be sustained no matter what. There is only one consequence of a head-on hit. That is death. Marco's attack is magnified in Momoshiki's eyes. Momoshiki also bit the tip of her tongue, forcing herself to cheer up. She held the Kumvarata in her hand and used the last bit of her strength. Poured into the hands. Even if it is a fatal attack, she will fight to the last moment. Just at this moment, behind Momoshiki Gion, suddenly, a magnificent voice rang out. The sound is so loud. Instantly, the sound resounded throughout the entire city. I heard the echo of inspiration. The next moment, Momoshiki was already weak. The terrifying aura burst out from his whole body once again. What's going on? Feel the power suddenly appearing out of nowhere in your body. Momoshiki was shocked. The body that had been exhausted suddenly gained endless power. The wound on the waist stopped the bleeding immediately. And the injuries all over his body began to improve. It was as if the body's functions had been strengthened to their peak and it had begun to repair itself. Momoshiki could feel it. My current status. It seems that he is several points stronger than himself at his peak. Is it related to the sound behind me just now? Momoshiki couldn't help but think too much now. Marco's attack is coming. Since their strength has inexplicably increased, they will fight with all their might. The breath of the whole body surges. The domineering power is concentrated on the tip of Jinpeiro's sword. Determined to give Marco the heaviest blow. The incident happened suddenly. Marco never expected that Momoshiki was on the verge of death. An attack of such terrifying power. Is this what is called a flashback? He was filled with doubts, but his attack had already been unleashed. It cannot be forcibly taken back for defense. Marco had no choice but to confront the opponent head-on. Hopefully we can break Momoshiki Gion's attack. Drink. Momoshiki cried out softly. The momentum of the whole body rises again. The aura emanating from her at this moment. It seems that he is no lower than Marco. Even faintly, he is one step ahead of Marco. Both sides attack contact. It exploded with a bang. Within 100 meters around. There is no wind. Marco's pupils shrank to the size of a pinhole in an instant. He discovered that Momoshiki's attack was even stronger than his strongest attack. This time the confrontation. Going to lose. An idea suddenly came to his mind, which was beyond his comprehension. The next moment, Marco flew out backwards, came to Ace's side. Looking at Marco at his feet, Ace's face showed a deep shock. Someone as strong as Marco actually lost. This guy's strength is comparable to that of the Whitebeard pirates. Getting into the top 3 should be no problem. After using all his strength, he was defeated by this dying marine chick. This was totally beyond everyone's expectations. Marco got up from the ground. He coughed violently twice. A mouthful of blood spit out. Marco's aura was much weaker. I have been a ship's doctor for so many years. I never thought that I would be wrong. Were you pretending to be weak just now? Or are they all flashes of life? Momoshiki Gion shook his head. No, I don't know what's going on either. Just now, I was really about to give up. I wouldn't resort to such a sinister strategy to fight you pirates. As she said this, an idea came to her mind. This incredible ability. Could it be that? It was his younger brother Su Chen who saw that he couldn't hold on any longer. At the critical moment, he helped me again. Momoshiki thought in her heart and subconsciously looked in the direction of Su Chen. Right now, facing the attacks of the crowd, Su Chen was extremely calm. Just hear a buzz sound. An invisible energy wave centered on him, spreading violently in all directions. It was the break all laws realm that had not been online for a long time. Devil fruit abilities and domineering powers are all sealed at this moment. Everyone will return to being normal people. Except Su Chen. The accident happened suddenly, although Whitebeard informed in advance. But everyone was stunned for a moment because they lost the connection with the fruit. The Red Earl looked at the vampire fruit that was already completely imperceptible. He looked thoughtful. The devil fruit is not particularly important to him. But the domineering spirit was also sealed, which he didn't expect at all. But he also has extremely powerful physical abilities. That's as good as Whitebeard and Roger. The expression on the Golden Lion Shiki's face changed drastically. Devil Fruit is vital to his fighting power. Losing his Devil Fruit ability will be a huge blow to him. Bullet suddenly came out of Devil mode. The body shape has shrunk a lot. Take advantage of this time. Su Chen landed lightly. Turned around lightly. He looked at Aokiji and Akainu not far away. There was also a playful smile on the corner of his mouth. Use inspire other than Momoshiki. He also plans to try his hand at Aokiji and Akainu. Aokiji Senpai, Akainu Senpai. As a new member who has just joined, it is the task of solving these prisoners who are preparing to escape. How about I leave it to you? Su Chen said. Behind. Whitebeard was already holding a naginata, slashing towards the back of Su Chen's head. The strong wind is whistling. Boy Su Chen, be careful. Behind. Aokiji exclaimed. How could he care about what Su Chen just said? If Su Chen was really hit by this knife, even with armed domineering body protection, that's also a concussion. After being reminded by Aokiji, Whitebeard's naginata fell much faster. Su Chen is bound to be hit hard. But this time, Whitebeard suddenly froze. It seems to be the same as cutting off Haki and Devil Fruit before. His soul was cut off from his body. I can't control my body. Whitebeard froze in place for a moment. However, the body quickly regained control. Taking advantage of the moment when Whitebeard's attack stopped, Su Chen put his hands in his pockets. Very slowly he took a step to the side. It's just such a short step away. Just escaped Whitebeard's attack. Boom! The huge force caused Kong Yunchi to directly break a hole the size of a human head on the ground. Whitebeard frowned. He showed an expression as if he was facing a formidable enemy. It was in sharp contrast to Su Chen's calmness. Can do this kind of thing. Surprisingly, it was Su Chen who activated the Echo Heart Stealing. Almost forgot. Su Chen snapped his fingers. A clear voice sounded. The seal of breaking all laws on Aokiji and Akainu was instantly cancelled. In an instant, Inspire was applied to them. Compared to Momoshiki Gion, which has run out of gas. Excitation, the effect that bursts out on Aokiji and Akainu is terrifying. But the blink of an eye, Aokiji and Akainu's auras began to surge. Almost immediately he reached the level of Whitebeard. Akainu Aokiji glanced at each other subconsciously. They all saw the surprise in each other's eyes. As one of the three marine generals. Although he is not the top expert in the world, but it is still possible to control the situation in the body. It was almost the moment inspiration was applied to them. They just felt it. A terrifying improvement in one's own strength. At least 30% or more. What happened? After they looked at each other, they all turned their attention to Su Chen. Can create all these incredible situations. I'm afraid Su Chen is the only one. I guess even ask him. This kid will only blame the problem on Fruit Awakening. Now advance into the city. Except for them, only a few members of the Marine Force still have complete strength. It's just that no one has Haki and Devil Fruit abilities anymore. The pirate forces can rely on it. There is only the body. This makes the originally crisis situation turned around in an instant. Aokiji Senpai, Akainu Senpai. Aren't you going to take action to suppress this riot? I am a newly appointed general. I have just finished the mission in Dressrosa. If I come back, I will solve the riot and impel down. I guess the world government won't look at me in a good light. Su Chen said calmly. It seemed as if there was no Whitebeard nearby. Whitebeard was ignored. There was a flash of anger in his eyes. Boy, aren't you a little too arrogant? After saying that, he waved the Kong Yunchi in his hand and attacked towards Su Chen again. This time, he tried his best, just as expected. I lost control of my body again. But this was also within Whitebeard's expectations. Regarding Su Chen's attack, Whitebeard used his full strength. The distance between the two is so close. Even if the body is controlled, use the inertia generated by huge force. It is also enough to cause considerable damage to Su Chen. But this time, Su Chen didn't hide, but raise your right hand. Dark energy covered his arms. Its armed color domineering. Clang. Whitebeard's Kusukum/blade collides with Su Chen's arm. It made a crisp sound. Su Chen's body was very stable. Blocked Whitebeard's attack. There wasn't even any unnecessary shaking of the body. Reminded by Su Chen, Akainu and Aokiji both came back to their senses. Especially Akainu. In the eyes beneath the hat, there was a flash of cold anger. I just couldn't defeat this group of monsters. But now Su Chen took action and sealed everyone's abilities at once. Now we are all primitive people. They are the only ones with superpowers. Don't kick the can down the road now. When more? Pirates. Your end has come. Akainu walked towards the people in front of him. Aokiji on the side was thinking more. Su Chen's words reminded him. Su Chen is only 30 years old. He obtained the position of Marine General. This resume is exaggerated enough. And now he has shown his military exploits many times. Maybe he will really become too successful and become a threat to his master. Attract the attention of the world government, the group of celestial dragons. If they were afraid that Su Chen would threaten them, then Su Chen will be in trouble. So Su Chen did nothing wrong. Now that we are able to make a comeback, it would be best for these few former Marines to suppress the riot. Although this is unfair to Su Chen, it can be considered as stealing his credit. But Aokiji understood that Su Chen was capable of doing such a thing. And analyzed the pros and cons of not destroying the advancement city in a short period of time. A plan to suppress pirates. Su Chen must be aware of the consequences of doing so. Now Akainu has taken action. Aokiji naturally followed closely behind. Two major devil fruit energies, one red and one blue. Let loose in the city now. On the high platform. Affected by Su Chen's break all laws. Marco, who lost his powers, and Ace. Once again, Momoshiki put the tip of the knife to his neck. Marco raised his hands in surrender helplessly. A look of helplessness flashed across his eyes. I really didn't expect it. Things are unpredictable. The battlefield has changed so much. In the beginning, we had a big advantage, then it was even, and now it's like this. We lost. Ms. Marine, you win. Momoshiki Gion skillfully locked the seastone shackles on the two people. Then he looked at the other pirates beside him. This is impelled down. The thing that is most lacking is the seastone shackles. She kicked the wooden barrel beside her. The seastone shackles leaned out from it like a small hill. She raised her eyes and said to everyone, "Button it on yourself. Otherwise, my aunt will use my precious sword to serve you." Everyone was shocked. Even Marco and Ace were defeated. Now you are not obedient. Maybe I will really be killed by this female marine. Under the suppression of Akainu and Aokiji. Golden Lion, Bullet, Crocodile. Most of the level 6 prisoners have been defeated. Right now on the battlefield. Only Whitebeard, who swore to fight to the death, and Red Count were left. Ha 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 ha, what a powerful method. The Red Earl clapped his hands softly. I never resisted from beginning to end, otherwise you can just pretend you never saw me. Let me out, okay. How many Marine Admirals? The Red Earl acted respectful. But Akainu and Aokiji. But he never looked down on the Red Earl. You know, this guy alone can stand on equal footing with Roger, the Whitebeard pirates and the entire pirate group. The strength is absolutely terrifying. Even if his domineering and devil fruit abilities were sealed. Compared to others, they are not on the same level at all. Want to leave here? It's a fool's dream. Just stay in this prison and spend the rest of your life. Akainu snorted. If it is possible. He didn't want to put all the pirates into this prison, but would choose to kill them directly. Oh, there's nothing to talk about. All right. I actually quite like this guy. In that case, I have no choice but to get out. Edward Newgate, let us join forces. The Red Earl's voice was shrill. Said to Whitebeard beside him. Whitebeard didn't reply at all. From just now till now. The Red Earl was watching from the side. Didn't put any effort into them. This made Whitebeard very unhappy with the Red Earl. But now the situation has taken a sharp turn for the worse. The only one he can turn to is the Red Earl. This guy's body is extremely terrifying. I'm afraid that even Kaido, the strongest creature in the world, may not be able to rely solely on his physical body. Better than the Red Earl. After all, he relies on his physical body to rival One Piece Roger. Defeat this guy first. The sealing ability is too tricky. As long as we deal with him, the plan can continue to be implemented normally. Akainu laughed. Red Earl, you really don't see the situation clearly. You've been locked up for too long, so your brain isn't very smart anymore. After saying that, he flew directly towards the two of them. Don't give them any chance to attack Su Chen. Swish. The Red Earl disappeared on the spot. I don't know where he went. In the original place, Whitebeard meets Akainu's attack. But is the magma fruit something that ordinary people can easily resist? This is a higher level of the flame fruit. No matter how powerful Whitebeard is, after being sealed, he is only at the level of Shichibukai. Facing this attack from Akainu, use the Naginata to resist. It's totally useless. Whitebeard took several steps back, with large areas of his body burned. A mouthful of blood suddenly spit out. The breath is rapidly weakening. And at the same time Akainu made his move. Behind Su Chen, the Red Earl has appeared. He launched an attack towards the back of Su Chen's head. Without any hesitation, directly to the vital point. But Su Chen had anticipated this. The other side has made it clear that they want to defeat me. If I don't take precautions, wouldn't I be a fool? To defeat Red Earl and Whitebeard, Su Chen had the chance a long time ago. Just use heart stealing at the right time. Keeping the Red Earl is of greatest use to Su Chen. Just try to see the effect of stimulation on yourself. Echo release. Su Chen all over his body. A terrifying aura burst out. Full of dominance. The white observation haki is domineering. The black armed color is domineering. The two are completely integrated to form a whole new field. And just at this moment, a breath of kingly aura. An existence that is above all others. Appearing out of thin air. It merged into the two domineering auras that Su Chen originally released. Under the effect of stimulation, Su Chen's third domineering power. Conqueror's domineering. It appeared. Conqueror's domineering. Everyone present, after feeling the Conqueror's domineering power, they all turned their gazes towards Su Chen. To be honest, in level 6, there are many strong people who possess Conqueror's domineering power. Strictly speaking, except for a few people who later became Blackbeard's subordinates. The rest exists. They all have the potential to awaken Conqueror's domineering power. I was not mistaken. This kid has the talent of Conqueror's dominance. Qualifications to become a king. There was a flash of excitement in Akainu's eyes when he looked at Su Chen. Su Chen was really just what he wanted. Before Su Chen's investiture ceremony to become Marine Admiral, all the Marine Lieutenant Generals were opposed to Su Chen becoming a Marine General. After all, can it become the mainstay of Marine? In addition to possessing abilities that are incredibly powerful, there is an unwritten rule. That is to have Conqueror's dominance. Aokiji Akainu Yellow Monkey. These were the original 3 Marine Admirals. Who doesn't have 3-color domineering? What Su Chen copied at the beginning was the strength of Momoshiki. Of course, it is not as domineering as Conqueror's. But this does not mean that Su Chen has not awakened Conqueror's domineering potential. Now under the influence of sage art, Su Chen finally awakened Conqueror's domineering. In the eyes of many people, Conqueror's domineering attitude is just a symbol. Possessing Conqueror's power is proof of being a leader. But in fact only very few people know it. Conqueror's domineering terror. Conqueror's haki can be entangled like armament haki. Know about this. At least they are all top warriors on the sea. Among them. But it also includes Su Chen, who knows the original plot of One Piece. Interesting, little one. It seems that I underestimated your ability. I underestimated the enemy. Sorry, I will now truly use all my strength. I treat you as an opponent. After the Red Earl saw Su Chen burst out with Conqueror's domineering aura, he always had a carefree expression on his face. Finally, his expression changed. He could feel it. If it was before, relying on his abnormally strong physical strength, he can also firmly suppress Su Chen, who possesses all kinds of strange powers. But now Su Chen has Conqueror's domineering power. Between two people, the gap in strength has been eliminated. He, the Red Earl, can no longer rely on his strength and qualifications. Let's look down at this young Marine Admiral in front of us. Are you still pretending to be cool in front of me at this time? Su Chen looked at the Red Earl and shook his head speechlessly. Anyway, you are a character in the theater. It has nothing to do with the main storyline of One Piece. It's done, that's it. I'm just using you for training. Instead, he's still putting on airs here. Really like to pretend. Pretend to be cool, I want you to fly. Su Chen said lightly. Armament Haki conquerors two types of domineering energy. Wrap it directly around your arms. Heaven moves vigorously. Sage art suddenly takes off. Spots of fluorescent energy appeared on Su Chen's body again. Su Chen's aura surged again. It's not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. To quote the author of, "Add 3 spoons of sugar, this is a geometric improvement." The moment the terrifying aura appeared, the Red Earl's pupils suddenly shrank. The moment when everyone around felt this breath. It feels like my heart slowed down. Ace and Marco. Now the look in his eyes when he looked at Su Chen. There was even a flash of fear and terror. This is Whitebeard's angrier moment. A terrifying atmosphere. On the sea, red-haired Shanks is like a stream of red light. Quickly rushed towards the direction of Advance City. Behind him, it is also a silvery white stream of light. It's Iron Fist Garp. He came to support the riot and impel down. Just intercepted red-haired Shanks in the sea. The two had been fighting for several moves in the sea. However, both sides did not unleash their full strength. Therefore, the winner cannot be determined in a short period of time. In the case of their entanglement, unconsciously, we have entered the sea area of Impel Down. The two originally wanted to fight each other again. But at the same time, they all stopped. His body froze. They all fell on the sea. What a coincidence. 2 pieces of driftwood appeared on the sea. Use him as a landing point. Garp and the redhead just stood there. Their expressions were serious. At the same time, looking in the same direction. In sight, the sea fog faintly covered a large building. It's the direction of advancing the city. The straight line distance between the two and Push City was about 20 to 25 kilometers. It has already exceeded the distance of Su Chen's breaking all laws. This aura is not Whitebeard's. Redhead, you are such a nuisance. What kind of reinforcements did you and Baihuzi find? That aura just now has clearly reached the level of 4 emperors. Did you find Kaido or Big Mom? Garp's eyes were serious. The situation in Push City is already bad enough. Not to mention Whitebeard and the 4 emperors pirate group. There are also members on the Red Hair ship who help. If the monsters in level 6 break free from their shackles, then I'm afraid we really have to implement Fleet Admiral's plan to destroy Impel City. It was originally he who was to take action. Plus the current Akainu and Aokiji in Impel Down Castle. Anyway, there is no problem in destroying the Impulse City and burying it at the bottom of the sea. But now if another 4 emperors appears. But can we do it before these old monsters escape? Let the city of Pushu be buried at the bottom of the sea. I'm afraid it's an unknown. The redhead was originally calm and composed. At this moment, he also became solemn. After hearing what Garp said. But then he suddenly relaxed. Uncle Garp, please don't put all the blame on me. I am the last person you should blame for the invasion of Impel Down this time. Whitebeard and I want to go into the city to rescue Ace. And the 4 emperors level aura that suddenly appeared in Impel Down was not caused by me. If it wasn't someone you Marines found, it could have been the old monster you locked up in Impel Down. Back in the Rocks era, there were so many influential people on the sea. Now they have all disappeared without a trace. This must be the work of you Marines. Maybe it's a monster that has been released. You should be worried about Ace's safety right now, so don't talk to me about marine justice. Let's go over and check the situation. Garp heard red-haired Shanks talk about the existence that exudes the aura of a powerful being at the level of 4 emperors. He didn't find it. Suddenly I felt my shoulders relax. But in this case, it is very likely that it is a prisoner imprisoned in Push City. Is it a Golden Lion? Or Burndee? Or maybe the Red Earl? No matter which one, I'm afraid it will be a tough battle from now on. Garp nodded. He didn't talk to the red-haired man either. He kicked the wooden board again. Hurry towards the direction of Advance City. The sea fog quickly enveloped Garp's figure. The redhead smiled. Talking to himself, this old guy claims to be full of justice. He still cares about his grandson. No matter what, the most urgent task now is to rescue Ace. We have to catch up quickly. What's going on? Why can't I find Garp's whereabouts even though my observation hockey can predict the future? The redhead suddenly realized. Garp entered the fog on the sea of impel down. It completely disappeared from his powerful observation hockey. The red-haired man suddenly felt something was wrong. He rushed directly in the direction of advancing city. But he hasn't taken 2 steps yet. Suddenly, the red-haired man felt that the connection between him and his domineering aura was severed. Using inertia, he rushed forward a few steps. With a plop, the redhead fell into the water. He suddenly emerged from the water. His eyes were full of confusion. What's going on? What happened? Where is Su Chen? Aokiji shouted in astonishment, his voice full of confusion and shock. He widened his eyes and searched anxiously for Su Chen's figure on the battlefield. You know, just a moment ago, Su Chen was in the center of the battlefield, engaging in a fierce battle with the enemy. However, at this moment the place was empty, as if Su Chen had disappeared out of thin air. Almost at the same time, an extremely strong sense of crisis suddenly surged in the Red Earl's heart. This crisis came like a surging tide, causing him to tremble all over and his heartbeat to accelerate instantly. He secretly thought that something was wrong and an ominous premonition enveloped his whole body, as if a disaster would befall him if he hesitated for a moment. The Red Earl couldn't help but let out a sigh, and the expression on his face became extremely solemn. Having lost the important source of information, observation hockey, he is now like a blind man groping in the dark, and can only rely on his own eyes to find Su Chen's trace. He quickly moved his eyes and nervously scanned every corner around him, not missing any suspicious signs. A full circle. There is no sign of Su Chen anywhere. This is definitely not right. The Red Earl knew. It's impossible that Su Chen ran away. It must be nearby, ready to go. Give yourself a blow. Up there. Balalik. I heard what Whitebeard said. The Red Earl subconsciously looked up. Su Chen had already thrown a punch. Coming with a terrifying gust of wind. The distance between two people. From the beginning of more than 100 meters. Now the distance is less than 10 meters. It only takes half a blink of an eye. Su Chen's speed is too fast. So much so that the powerful destructive force of the fist produced residual power. It even arrived 1 step later than Su Chen's attack. Oops. The Red Earl's heart was filled with alarm. He cried out that something was wrong. Strong combat experience told him. If I run away now, I will be exposed. It's only possible to get more seriously injured. And if we defend with all our strength, as long as he can withstand Su Chen's attack, then Su Chen would definitely reveal a huge flaw. Meanwhile, Marine and other strong men on the side were fighting against Whitebeard. There was no chance to intervene in his battle with Su Chen. Then, it will be time for him to fight back. The Red Earl thought to himself. The solemnity in his eyes also dissipated a lot. His vampire fruit can bring great convenience in both battles and daily life. But the Red Earl's terrifying body is comparable to that of the entire Whitebeard pirates. This is the foundation of his life. Su Chen's move is to seal the devil fruit ability and domineering. At most, it would be an ability to increase strength. And these are what the Red Earl thinks. They are all unorthodox methods. Only when the body is strong, can one be truly strong. Su Chen's punch. At this age, it is already an extremely evil existence. Even compared to other marine admirals. It's all quite astonishing. I'm afraid that the weaker ones among the 7 warlords of the sea would not be able to withstand Su Chen's punch. But he is different. At this moment, the Red Earl even surpasses in comprehensive strength. Far superior to Whitebeard on the side. This man who is known as the strongest man on earth. So, Su Chen's attack. He's not worried at all. Su Chen is very fast. The thought came to the Red Earl's mind almost immediately. Su Chen's fist. It was the arms that blocked in front of the Red Earl. Collided together. Conquerors and armament colors intertwined. Lightning flashed beside them. The terrifying destructive power immediately appeared. The Red Earl's internal organs were slightly displaced. The injuries in his body caused the Red Earl to spit out a mouthful of blood uncontrollably. Very good. I held on. The Red Earl looked at Su Chen who had completed the attack in front of him. He revealed a sinister smile. Boy, it seems that I have overestimated you after all. I thought after Roger's death, the new kid would be able to bring me some surprises. If this is your limit, Then you can notify the Marines to come and collect your body. Su Chen's whole body is now full of flaws. The Red Earl had the confidence to do it in the blink of an eye. Make it impossible for Su Chen to fight back. A series of attacks that eventually renders him unable to fight. The Red Earl thought, he has won. These words said to Su Chen. It's not like opening champagne at halftime. It's the MVP settlement phase after defeating the opponent. Su Chen heard what the Red Earl said. There was no change in his facial expression. His fists were still pressed against the Red Earl's arms. There was no sign of movement. Su Chen uttered 2 words lightly. Stupid. This time it was the Red Earl's turn to be confused. What the hell is this idiot? That's when it happened. The Red Earl's hair suddenly stood on end. Even without the observation hockey. Through the sixth sense, he also felt it instantly. There is a huge crisis. It is about to come upon me. What is it? It definitely wasn't Su Chen's attack. I have completely taken Su Chen's punch. But what is that? Before the Red Earl could think more about it. Boom. A sound. The sky of the entire impelled down city. There was a loud thunder. It was as if an atomic bomb exploded out of nowhere high above our heads. Everyone felt that their little heart was being grasped by an invisible big hand. As long as this big hand is willing, it means that everyone present can be killed equally. Accompanied by the roar of terrifying thunder. It is a will to destruction that is so strong that it is almost suffocating. All the top experts present. They all stopped what they were doing. Everyone looked up at the sky. Sense of crisis. It's like the sword of Damocles hanging over their heads. Everything happened so fast. Just 1 second after the thunder sounded. A terrifying thunder as thick as a locomotive. From above the sky. Smash it down hard. Boom 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 boom. Terrifying destructive power. Mixed with the will to destroy. It destroyed everything that stood in its way. On top of a building and impelled down. Directly turned into dust. The world turned black and white. A buzzing sound rang in everyone's ears at the same time. The wind is blowing hard. What a doomsday scene. Even the strong Marines who have been allowed to recover their strength. At this moment, all 5 senses are completely sealed. There is no other reason. Just because of the power of this terrifying thunder. It's really too strong. Just the aftermath. They are all irresistible. This terrifying thunderbolt only targeted one person. That is the Red Earl in front of Su Chen. Other people. Just a side effect. The terrifying thunder lasted for a full 10 seconds. When everything is gone, a group of people looking extremely embarrassed. They all opened their eyes slowly. The look in their eyes. There is a lot of fear at this moment. Yes, it's the emotion of fear. Subconsciously, they looked towards the center area where the thunder struck. Where? Su Chen put his hands in his pockets. Standing there calmly. There was nothing ahead. Where is the Red Earl? Left behind. It's just a huge pit more than 30 meters wide. See this situation. Whitebeard mouth corners. There was a sudden twitch. The foot that was originally about to take a step back stopped abruptly. He has a white beard. Never take a step back. And Akainu and Aokiji on the side. Because there is no sealed ability. He came to his senses a little earlier. Look at the terrifying sound caused by the thunder. Akainu swallowed his saliva. There was a flash of disbelief in his eyes. This is the case with Akainu, who is always serious and has a cold face. It is already very rare. And Aokiji was also shocked beyond words. In his perception of sight and hearing, there is no longer any trace of the Red Earl. The Red Earl is confirmed dead. Su Chen. Could it be you who released this thunder? Aokiji was so shocked that he stuttered. Su Chen didn't answer. It's considered as a default. Aokiji, who was recognized by Su Chen. He took a big step back suddenly. The shock in his eyes was not concealed at all. So scary. This is a world-destroying attack. It's not inferior to the Buddha's blaster of the Sengoku Fleet Admiral. Aokiji even subconsciously uses the signature skill of his teacher, the Hero Garp. Compare the 2 killer moves, Galaxy Iron Fist and Fall from the Seabed. He was horrified to discover the attack power of Su Chen's summoned thunder. There are more than ever before. The meaning is very simple. Su Chen is now able to perform such terrifying moves. It seems to have become part of the Marine. A truly powerful person. This kid Su Chen. It really surprised me. Before the investiture ceremony, he had to use his strange ability to deal with Akainu in order to barely win. But now, if you use this move after sealing the fruit and domineering, I'm afraid I'm also defeated by Su Chen. Aokiji sighed helplessly. He really didn't understand. How could Su Chen's strength grow so fast? A month and a half ago, Su Chen was just a disabled young man lying on a hospital bed and dying. At that time, his life was hopeless. Any disturbance in the medical equipment could cost Su Chen's life. And only half a month later, Su Chen landed on Banero Island. He already has the ability to defeat Blackbeard, Fire Fist Ace, and Marco. Even Whitebeard, Su Chen could stop him a little. Another half-month passed. Su Chen has become a Marine Admiral and possesses the strength to stand on equal footing with them. And now, Su Chen was already able to unleash terrifying moves that none of them could withstand. This is Su Chen, undoubtedly a terrifying monster. Aokiji had no doubts. The appearance of Su Chen will cause no less than the new generation started by Roger from One Piece. Is this old man the only one left? Whitebeard looked not far away. That big empty hole. There was a hint of loneliness in his eyes. A former rival on the sea. One less. Su Chen, you really disgust me. I've thought about that more than once. If you weren't a marine, but a pirate. Or maybe you were just an ordinary person. How nice it would be. In that case, I believe you won't go against me. We can definitely live in harmony with each other. Instead of what's happening now, where you keep ruining our plans. Whitebeard spoke slowly. I don't know what I'm sensing. Or is he deliberately delaying time? Whitebeard, give up resistance. No matter who you are today, you can't escape from Impel Down. Just stay in the city and spend the rest of your life there. Akainu's voice was cold. Now for Whitebeard and his group. There is no way out anymore. Through the sage art performed by Su Chen, Inspire. The strength of the marine forces has skyrocketed. Golden Lion and others were subdued again. Now the only ones left are Whitebeard and the red-haired crew members, who have not been dealt with yet. Aokiji also took this opportunity to come to Su Chen. Once again, the circumstances of the Red Earl's death were confirmed. But at this time, push forward the city walls. Suddenly there was a cracking sound. Aokiji frowned sharply, looked around. The current situation is for Marine. It seems that there is no need to destroy the city. Aokiji naturally didn't want anything to go wrong in pushing the city forward. He asked Su Chen who was beside him. Su Chen, the thunder you just released. Are you sure you haven't damaged the main structure of Impel Down? Or, could it be that your thunderbolt was too powerful and broke through the bottom of the Impel Down? Su Chen shook his head. Rejected Aokiji's idea. I controlled the intensity. The thunderbolt can only damage the 4th or 5th floor at most. And I used the less powerful thunder to guide it on this level. Let the destructive power explode as much as possible on this level. Aokiji nodded. I think Su Chen's way of handling the problem is correct. But at this time, Aokiji raised his eyebrows suddenly. He murmured and repeated Su Chen's last words. On this level. Explode. Aokiji seemed to understand. Whitebeard, what on earth were you stalling for? His whole body was filled with breath. Ice crystals began to spread around him. Under the amplification of Su Chen's stimulation, the temperature and spreading speed of the ice crystals have increased several times. The target is Whitebeard. After doing all this, Aokiji also shouted at Akainu. Akainu, control Whitebeard. Quick. Akainu though didn't understand what Aokiji wanted to do. But at this moment Whitebeard was at a disadvantage. It is best to beat a fallen dog. He immediately cooperated with Aokiji. An attack on Whitebeard. Su Chen at this moment. I understand it now too. After I chose to detonate thunder on the 2nd level of the advanced city. What on earth does Whitebeard want to do? Seen being double-teamed by Aokiji Akainu. Whitebeard saw this, but he showed a smile. Whitebeard spins his naginata. Facing a wall behind him, he released the slashing blow suddenly. The knife skills are very delicate. It seems to be a clever move. To point the surface, prying the entire wall of the Impel Down city. Akainu used to be a swordsman. Saw Whitebeard's actions. I understood it instantly. What is Whitebeard planning to do? He wanted to use the shock wave generated by Su Chen's thunder. Destroy impel down. Akainu, Aokiji. You are still a step too slow. I have found the weak point of Advance City. Whitebeard laughed. As if declaring victory. This time action. Ace has been rescued. He still achieved his desired goal. Whitebeard roared in the direction of Ace. Little ones, get ready. Wave. It's coming. The words haven't finished yet. With a loud bang. The wall is crumbling. A large amount of seawater gushed out from it. The entire city of Impel down. Drowning is imminent. The seawater surged beside me. Su Chen slowly opened his eyes. A flounder. He was looking into Su Chen's eyes. His expression was a little dull. But it was obvious that there was a sense of doubt. This is also what Su Chen is thinking now. Confused. Where is this now? What's going on? Where are you from? Is this still China? But very quickly, Su Chen came back to his senses. Remember what happened to me. My soul traveled to the world of One Piece and became a Marine Admiral. Now advancing into the city to stop Whitebeard from rescuing Ace. And the current situation, Su Chen also recalled. Push forward the wall of the second floor of the city. It seemed to have been destroyed by Whitebeard. A large amount of seawater is flooding back. The entire Impel Down city was flooded. It's already a matter of time. And now I am trying to prevent Ace from escaping. Take advantage of the chaos when no one is paying attention. Then he dived into the water. Su Chen understood that he now needed to complete the goal. I immediately had the motivation to move forward. He started swimming in the sea. Disappeared on the spot. On the marine warship, Akainu's eyes were cold. Is there still no news about Su Chen and Aokiji? I don't know about Su Chen, but Aokiji was dragged into the sea by Whitebeard. Whitebeard is over 5 meters tall. Can't you find any clues with your radar? I'll give you the last 10 minutes. If there is no news about them, you will be buried with them. The T-Pig in front of Akainu. The whole person was shaking as if he had received an electric shock. He just woke up. Then I saw the seawater backflowing. Immediately following, he followed Marine, returned to the warship. From beginning to end, Chatten didn't know what was going on. Now he is asked to find the whereabouts of Aokiji and Su Chen. It's completely in the dark. There is not a single clue. On the sea, a beautiful figure emerged from the sea. It is Momoshiki Gion. There was a flash of sadness in her eyes. Report to General Akainu. We still haven't found any trace of Generals Su Chen and Aokiji. Akainu took a deep breath. Didn't say anything, just nodded. Momoshiki Gion is not treated in the same manner as T-Pigs. Chatten, who was standing by, wanted to step forward and say something to comfort Momoshiki. But Akainu gave him a cold glance. He instantly felt a chill rushing straight to his head. Chatten had a premonition. Now the anger in General Kosuski's heart has reached its peak. If the time comes, Chatten really couldn't find any information that could be handed over. I'm afraid Akainu will really throw him into the sea to feed the sharks. Although Chatten is a Marine Lieutenant General, not afraid of sharks and Poseidons. But trust Akainu in 100 ways. Let me be buried in the sea, buried with Generals Aokiji and Su Chen. Chatten stood at attention immediately. He gave Akainu a standard military salute. Report to Commander Akainu. Don't worry, I'm here. Leave the task of finding General Su Chen and General Aokiji to me. I will definitely be able to find the 2 adults within the specified time. After saying that, a T-Pig is a sow that has entered the water. Dive straight into the water. A wave splashed, but at this moment, the whole sea water. Suddenly there was a flash of lightning. The whole sea seemed to be boiling at this moment. The figure of the T-Pig. It jumped out directly from the sea. His whole body was black from the electric shock. Like a burnt suckling pig. Looks so miserable. He used up his last bit of strength to climb onto the warship. He fainted and died on the deck. Act recklessly. And Akainu stood on the deck. His eyes suddenly focused. He saw 2 figures just floated up from the bottom of the sea. 2 people. Akainu is very familiar. One is Aokiji. One is the Fire Fist Ace who is tightly bound by Seastone. See these 2 guys surface. He immediately ordered the Marine to pull the 2 people aboard. Momoshiki is even 1 step ahead. Just a few jumps. So he brought the 2 of them up. Well done, Momoshiki. Akainu used his observation haki to detect the 2. I found that they were all still breathing. I was relieved that he just fainted. But, General Akainu, Su Chen is still missing. Ever since the seawater came back in, there is no trace of Su Chen anymore. The worry in Momosegi's eyes never diminished. Akainu looked toward the horizon. He said with his back to Momosegi. Don't worry. Even if I have to mobilize all the power of the marine, I will find that kid Su Chen. It was at this time. 2 sailors from behind hurried over. Report to the general, Lieutenant General. General Su Chen himself is back. Akainu and Momosegi looked delighted. He immediately walked towards the cabin of the warship. Whitebeard slowly opened his eyes. What I saw was the blue sky. He sat up slowly. Look around. He discovered that this was on the deck of his own pirate ship. Marco, who was debugging medical equipment at the side, turned around. He immediately ran over excitedly. Dad, that's great. You've been in a coma for 7 days, and you're finally awake. We were also worried about you. Many people around heard Marco's voice. Knowing that their father has awakened. Everyone is so excited. Want to come around. But he was stopped by Marco in a stern voice. Return them all to me. Dad still needs to recover. Whitebeard narrowed his eyes. He glanced at everyone present. But found out. Many of the usual figures were missing. He couldn't help but ask Marco beside him. Ace and Vista, where are they? Hear what Whitebeard said. Marco froze. The whole person froze in place. Whitebeard took a deep breath, as if he understood something. The whole person seems to have aged a lot. What about the others? We lost so many brothers this time. He asked in a hoarse voice. It seemed that he didn't want to know the answer from Marco. 37. Vista is in the sea, covering for Ace in order to stop Su Chen's pursuit. But it seems that I was still defeated by Su Chen. It is currently unknown whether he is alive or dead. Marco's words. Whitebeard punched heavily on the deck beside him. In an instant, a big hole appeared on the deck. Where's Ace? How's Ace? Whitebeard remained silent for a long time. Asked again. Marco gritted his teeth and handed a newspaper to Whitebeard. Whitebeard took the newspaper. I saw the content of the front page headline at a glance. One Piece Roger's son has been found. Sengoku Fleet Admiral will be publicly executed in a month. Moment. Whitebeard's pupils shrank to the size of pinholes. A terrifying aura burst out from his body. Ace, is he going to be publicly executed by Sengoku? Whitebeard clenched his teeth. Almost every word came out from between his teeth. Where are those red-haired people? Marco. Where did those people from the Red Hair Pirates go? Whitebeard almost growled. Marco dropped his head heavily. Dad, Redhead and his friends came here while you were unconscious. They wanted me to tell you I was sorry. Shanks said it was their fault that they didn't save Ace this time. They'll try to make it up. Whitebeard's face was as gloomy as water. A murderous aura burst out from him. It's obvious. Whitebeard is very angry now. What are they going to do to make up for it? Marco said quickly. The redhead said, to save Ace. They have already gone to Wano country immediately. Please ask Big Mom and Kaido to take action. Together with you, on the day of Ace's execution. Start a war. Please like my videos and subscribe for more videos.